evening, lamb chops. It is I, your favorite fluffy vampire, Bluma. Hi. Hope we're all doing good. Oh, hi. Yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, not a lot to say, I don't think. Right, what happened last time? We got the big reveal that Mion and Shion are in fact two different people. I know it's kind of been like, oh, are they or aren't they the whole time? So we got the confirmation that they indeed are twins. We don't... I mean, the reason they given that Shion doesn't go to school with us is that, like, she doesn't live in the main household. Just Mion does with Grandma Sonozaki. And Shion lives by herself, closer to town. Keiichi gaslighting himself for weeks. For real. Facts, actually. So that was the big reveal there. Keiichi kind of had that realization that, like, he should have just given the doll he won to Mion instead of giving it to Reina. And so we also kind of got the hint that there has been times where Mion did in fact dress up as Shion and went to Keiichi. Like, I think the example Shion gave that, like, she was kind of hinting at the fact, or trying to let us know that when Shion, air quotes on Shion, went to Keiichi's house that day after he didn't get to eat lunch and made him lunch, like made him a dinner, that was actually Mion dressed up as Shion so Keiichi would, you know, treat her nicer. So there's some moments in there where it's like, okay, yeah, Mion might have been dressing up as Shion, but they are different. But then it's like, you start thinking, was there moments when we were with Mion, but that's Shion because she dressed up as Mion? I don't know, it's a lot. There's a lot of fuckery to be had. Mion being super tsundere, pretty much. Oh, and also, if these chapters continue to keep being like short as they have been, we'll just go for 2 chapters today, and I'll adjust the thumbnail later. The next day. It was a strange day, where Mion was desperate to regain her composure. Needs to act like Shion to act girly? Yeah. That was basically her thought process that she kind of, like, let's have a glimpse of into her mind. Every time our eyes met, she would say that she has something to do, or she had to use the washroom and run off. Unable to just watch, Reina was taking care of her the entire time. Mion-san, she's acting totally strange today. I know the whole story, but it's hard to explain. There are times when girls are emotionally unstable. It's best to just leave her alone. Huh? Turning around, I saw Reina calling me from the hallway. I wondered what it was. Keiichi-kun, over here, over here. What is it calling me over here like this? Is it a secret? That is... It looks like it was a disaster. Yeah. Michan seemed pretty broken, but I somehow got her working again. I'm surprised you managed it. How did you exactly... Same way I do with the television. Just come at it with a 45-degree angle and yeah! Saying that, she made a chopping motion. You know, I can't tell if you're joking or not, right? She'll be fine by tomorrow. Also, there's something I want you to do, Keiichi-kun. I didn't I think that's a typo. I didn't mean to do anything wrong, but I still feel guilty. I'm listening. Thank you. You see, Michan is just going to pretend the last few days never happened. Never happened, huh? I see. Well, it's one way to run from it. So you see... Keiichi-kun, could you pretend too? I just realized the game's probably super quiet. I had to turn it down because Mahjong was so intense. That's a sentence no one ever thought that I would say. Or thought they would say. Mahjong was too intense. I had to turn down the volume. Just doing something as simple as that is that really gonna be okay? Please, until Michan gets her feelings in order, just go with it. Okay, I got it. To be honest, it was intense in a lot of ways. You got facts. Whew. Even though I shouldn't have been at fault, for some reason I felt guilty. The one at fault here was the one who knew about the entire situation and pretended to be Mion for an entire day. Xion. But she never once said that she was Mion. Like, what am I supposed to be angry at? Seeing me stomping the ground impatiently, Reina giggled. But Keiichi-kun, you knew as well that Michan has some cute things about her. Reina talked in a calm voice as her hair rustled in the wind. Yeah, I know that she'll never let it be boring. Good. Following this curt reply, Reina looked up at the sky and stretched. As long as you realize that, Keiichi-kun, these past few days will soon be nothing more than a story to laugh about. Copying Reina, I also began to stretch as I looked at the sky. The clear sky toward the distance. There's no club activities today or anything. Sorry, Keiichi-kun, but just for today, can you go home by yourself? I'll be back to normal by tomorrow, so just for today, okay? If all it took for everything to go back to normal was to leave Mion alone for today, then it was an easy decision to make. Got it. I can't say it directly to Mion, so I'll say it to you. I still feel kind of guilty about it, so I want to apologize. Ah, no. The root of the problem was Keiichi-kun saying something insensitive, right? So, if you learned anything from this, you need to look at it a bit into gaining a sense of delicacy. Right. I'll try. That day was the shortest day of my life. Reina was talking to Mion while accompanying her around the entire time. It looked like a really fun conversation, so I reflexively thought about joining in, but I had to make a promise not to. It seemed that Mion was also trying her best to ignore me. So likewise, I did my best to ignore her. For the first time in a while, I ate lunch alone. Mion and Reina ate theirs by themselves. As I let out a sigh in my ashen moon, Rika-chan came over and patted on my head. Both Keiichi and me learned a whole lot. I'd never say it like that. It made it sound like we were having a romantic problem. I didn't like that one bit. Hopefully the teacher would notice and call us to the staff room after school or something. I'm sure that Keiichi will grow up to be a wonderful adult. Pat, pat. Rika-chan is a studious type, so maybe you'll grow up to be an amazingly wonderful adult? Of course. When I grow up, I'll be super amazing. My, when I grow up, I'll be an amazing lady, you know? No matter how old you get, you'll still be a brat. I can put money on it. What did you say? As Toko snapped her fingers, a wash bin fell from above, hitting me squarely in the head. Ow! What do you think you're doing, Satoko? Bang, smash. Pinch and a squeeze. It was a day I could thoroughly appreciate the value of having friends. Got him with the facts, for real, for real. Today was Saturday, so school ended in the blink of an eye. It really felt good to go home with the sun so high in the sky. On any other day, our club would have been up to mischief during our ample after-school time, but today, Rika-chan had a rehearsal for tomorrow's Watanagashi to go to. How's that going, Rika-chan? Do you have it down in practice? I'll try harder than last year. You were so exhausted and sweaty after last year's ceremony. She'll look far more fit for the role this year. Please look forward to the fruits of her training. The Watanagashi Festival, everyone had been talking about it, was tomorrow, wasn't it? The festival being in June felt a little early to me, but the onset of summer came quickly this year, so it fit the image of summer festival pretty well. Oh my god, yeah, it's June 1st, happy Pride Month! Woo! And like, wow, what are the odds that like we're reading these summer books, like as summer is starting? I don't know. I think that's pretty neat. Cause, oh yeah, sorry, quick tangent. Does anyone else have like the idea that like certain anime is like for a certain season? Like, I'm not talking like, oh, it released in July, it's a summer anime. I mean, like, cause Higurashi to me has always felt like a summer anime. Excellent planning. Yeah, thank you. All skill. Like, Higurashi feels like a summer anime, right? Like, Food Wars feels like a summer anime. Like, it's an anime that, like, you have to watch in the summer to get full enjoyment out of it. Am I weird? Let's see, what's another one? Like, Vampire Knight feels like a fall anime. Like, you have to watch it in the fall to really like it. The cicadas definitely add to that summer vibe. It's true. I don't know, I've always had, like, thoughts about that with certain animes. Anyway. Okay, we'll be off then. Look forward to tomorrow. Good day to you all. Satoko and Rika-chan waved at us energetically and then left. You know, I never asked, where is the festival happening anyway? I don't remember there being anywhere around here that seems suited for hosting one. They do it at the Furude Shrine. We went there for a walk one day, remember? It was that place with the really good view. Oh, right, I remember. There was a shrine all the way up on that hill, wasn't there? It seemed far too grand for Hinamizawa. There's a great meeting hall in the shrine, too. The older people get together there and sing karaoke or practice calligraphy from time to time. It's more like a recreational facility than a simple shrine. I see. I guess that makes sense that it looks so grand, then. Mi-chan, is your family going to help set up today? Yep, we have male hands for that. Most of our relatives come into town to help. Male hands, huh? Well, I mean, I have nothing to do at home today, so would it be a problem if I squirm my way in there to help out? Huh? You want to help us, Kei-chan? Not if it'll bother you at all. I was just kind of interested. We had bond dances and other festivals in town I used to live in, but I didn't even know where they took place, much less wanted to help. You could say that I had absolutely no connection to the region. Having come to Hinamizawa, though, it really made me feel like the place was a home that I had returned to. And before I knew it, I harbored a little interest in the small community activity and preparing for a festival the day before. I wonder if you'll be able to, Keiichi-kun. There's a lot of building tents and setting up chairs. I hear it's pretty hard physical labor. I mean, I wouldn't be doing it alone, right? The more hands we have, the faster it'll go. Mion looked happy to hear that, but at the same time, her expression was complex, tinged with hesitation. Reina gave her a last push for me. It's decided, then. You should go for it, Keiichi-kun. He's all yours, Mi-chan. Put him through the ringer. Well, I can't argue with the recommendation from Reina. Okay, then. Go home first, put on some work clothes, and then come to the shrine. Oh, and, you might want to bring a towel to wipe the sweat with, too. Got it. I may look scrawny, but I'm actually quite like breaking a sweat under the hot sun. I fucking couldn't read that. Why does she feel so mixed? Yeah, no idea why she might feel a little nervous about having Keiichi around her and the rest of her family. Nah, why could that be? Careful you don't hurt your back, okay? Right. Enough from this old man's spiel. I'll go to the shrine too, as soon as you've changed. Mi-chan, do your best. Bye-bye. Mion waved vigorously and left us. As far as I could tell from her gallant, retreating figure, she seemed to have recovered from the weak state she had yesterday. Oh my god. Girls are quite quick to get over things. Mi-chan's already fine. Right. Her switching back to normal so cleanly really makes it easy for me to talk to her. It was kind of funny though, wasn't it? Kind of like Cinderella? Like you can't meet her anymore once the magic wears off? Reina began to giggle at the fair bit in amusement. Did she like that sort of thing? Incidentally, me going along with it gave me a weird, hard to describe feeling. Did I turn myself into a plaything, or did they do it for me? If you think it's so funny, Then you should try pretending to be a different Reina, too. Yeah, that sounds like fun! Keiichi-kun, what kind of Reina do you want to meet? One with a bust size of at least 9. Jesus! Huge knockers. That's okay with me touching it. Have we learned nothing? Keiichi, have we learned nothing? I can't do that. She'd be great at cooking, and make me lunch, and come to see me in the morning. But I do that already. I pull Reina's head into a tight grip, then start to... Get it? You're Reina Ryugu, right? Reina, not Reina. So you must stay as Reina forever, got it? Thanks. Have fun helping out at the festival. You got it. Let's meet up tomorrow. I got changed right away, and slinging a towel around my neck like Mion suggested, I set off for the shrine. At the shrine, there were more people than you'd ever imagined lived in Hinamizawa there. All coordinating off areas, setting up frameworks, chatting amongst themselves as they do so. Alright, where is Mion? The liveliness of the throng didn't make it easy to look for her. I searched around as if I already worked there, and suddenly the principal called out to me. Huh, well, if it isn't my Bara-kun. Interesting. Have you come to help with the Watanagashi setup? Hello. Yeah, I was wondering if there was anything I could help with. How commendable your attitude is. Feel free to sweat to your heart's content. Spurred up by the principal, I came upon a group of people setting up tents. Eh? What's this? Is it my Bara-chan? Did you come all this way to help us? I hadn't found Mion yet, but I suppose I'd just get in her way if I ran into her. Yeah, I'm here to help. Tell me where you need me. You young ones have all the vitality. Here, grab some work gloves. Ever built a tent before? No, never. Delighting in the teaching of a new skill to someone younger, plenty of people happily taught me all sorts of things. Okay, kid, go inside the tent and tie it up, just the cords to the top. After that, we'll stand it up and tie the rest of them. Butterfly knots are okay, right? There and there. All done? We're standing it up. 1, 2, 3. What was once nothing more than a collapsed tent was raised in 4 splendid legs before my eyes in mere moments. Whoa. Seeing it put together like this is actually pretty moving. Come on, no time to stare and wonder. We got a lot more to do. We packed the tents into a truck so to get them from there. They're heavy, so take someone with you. Nah, I'm good. I may look scrawny, but I'm actually pretty strong. What? They look light enough, so I thought they were... But they're heavy! That's why I told you to get someone to help. Come on, said the man, lifting up the grunt and taking it away under his arm. Either I'm weak or these old guys have all some superhuman strength. Let's go. You're the youngest one here, so we're gonna make you sweat for it. Do your best. Beer after work is the best. I'm a minor? Sweat dripped from my body. I had been fully and completely absorbed in helping them. I would never have thought the cold, barley tea from the woman's society could taste so delicious. You're so young. Make sure you drink a lot. Thank you. It was then I realized a crowd had formed near the shrine a ways off. When I took a closer look, I saw a girl dressed in a shrine maiden garb and a handful of old men looking like they were preparing for the ceremony together. Is that Rika-chan? Hey, Rika-chan! Do your best! I shouted and it seemed like she heard me. Rika-chan, positively exploding with vitality, answered with a smile. The older guys with me watched Rika-chan as well with distant gazes. Rika-chan... Rika-chama? Is that real? I've never seen that, suffix before? Rika-chama? Huh. Or is it supposed to be Rika-sama? I don't know. Doing a great job either way. She seems far more used to this than she did last year. The old lady who gave me the tea clasped what she looked like prayer beads in her hands and said, Rika-sama, We thank you, we thank you. Honorific. Okay, honorific. Is that a real one? Chama? I've never heard of that one. And just like that, began to respectfully pray to her. Huh? I just remembered that they called it the Furude Shrine. Wasn't it Rika-chan's full name, Rika Furude? The man standing next to me answered my question. That's right. Rika-chama's Furude clan is an ancient and honorable, and has worshipped Oyashiro-sama for generations. Huh. I'd always gotten the feeling she wasn't quite the average person, but it turned out she was from an esteemed family. After her father, who was the shrine priest, died the year before last, she's really been doing her best to learn the rituals. It's like the baby version of Sama? Like a kid mispronouncing Sama? Oh, weird. Okay, okay. She's learning the rituals. I wish the priest could have been there to see how wonderfully she's grown up. What? Rika-chan's father passed away? Alright, break time's over. Let's get to the chairs. We're not using back to gym in Okinomiya. What? I didn't... Anyway, Maki-san, pull the truck around here and take a few people with you. Alright, Maibara-kun, let's get to work on one last job. You're gonna make me do more work? I can't tell if they know I'm a minor or not, but the older men all cheer me on, encouraging me to do my best. And that the beer will be great. The beer's gonna be great. I mean, you can't have any, but it'll be great. Kei-chan, working hard, I see. I passed by Mion. She was carrying a big cardboard box. It looked like she was right in the middle of working as well. Judging by the sweat seeping from her shirt, it seemed I wasn't the only one with my hands full. Yeah, I'm working my ass off. You work hard too. The beer's gonna be great. We worked to the bone until the sun began to set and started cooling off. Trust me, kid, it's delicious. You'll love it in a few years. Absolutely top-notch. Shame you can't have any. It was soon full-fledged night, and the clear sound of the Higurashi eased the moderate pain I felt. The older guys began their night before drinking party in a tent in a far bit off, causing quite the ruckus. The shrine grounds, on the other hand, had turned into a lonely road tickled by a cool evening breeze, despite being so festive just a little while ago. Sorry, I'm gonna get a drink. Oh, yeah. The wind felt good. I leaned on one of the stone guardian dogs at the front of the shrine. I gave my legs a good stretch as I let my mind wander, and suddenly a paper cup filled with barley tea was thrust before me. Kei-chan, great work! Here's some tea for you. You're so considerate. Thanks, me. Her voice sounded exactly the same, but it felt somehow different. Wait, you're... Hey, it's Shion. Don't go giving Mion all the credit. She isn't considerate at all. Don't get us confused, alright? Shion, you little... Now that I've caught you, you're not getting away. It was your mistake, Kei-chan. I've never said I was anyone other than Shion. I guess I can't argue with that. Hehe. That's right. You're no match for my older sister, so I can't let you be a match for me either. Anyway, your tea. It's gonna get warm. Ugh. Come on, please cheer up. I'm not trying to make it up to you with this tea. Well, she did come all the way here to give it to me. I guess I'll accept it. I took the cup and downed it in one gulp. And then suddenly, I heard a loud shout and got struck in the throat. Which one is it this time? Is it the real Mion? Shion? Why are you hanging out with Kei-chan again? Because unlike you, I'm very considerate. Kei-chan was sweaty. I couldn't leave him alone, so I brought him some tea. By the way, why are you holding 2 cups of tea? Mio's face went bright red, and she tried to hide the paper cups behind her back. Well, this is... There's no way you, such a rough, timid, good sister of mine, would ever briskly bring a male classmate tea, is there? So what are they? What are those 2 cups of tea? These are... well, right. I was just so thirsty, I figured I'd drink too. That's so like you. Come on, chug, chug. As Shion cheered at her, Mion downed both the cups of tea, one after the other. What a fabulous drink that was! I expected nothing less from you. Kei-chan, you give her a hand too. Wait. Suddenly the situation has gotten unbelievable. Mion doesn't usually get manipulated so easily like that. I've known her for a while, but Shion is terrifying. Mion, you can't hold your own against Shion? I hate her. And lately I hate her even more. Just then, I heard the snap of a camera shutter. Good evening. The festival's coming up tomorrow. Thanks for all your hard work setting up today. Good evening. Oh, Shion-chan. It's quite unusual for you to come here. Oh hey, it's Tomotaki-san and Takano-san. Good evening. It's been a while, hasn't it? So you're the transfer student I've been hearing so much about. Keiichi Maibara, right? You really did a good bang-up job today. I'm impressed. I feel like I've seen this photographer guy before. Have we met before? Ah, I'm glad you remembered. We passed by many times on the road, Keiichi-kun. I'm Tomotake. I'm a freelancing photographer from Tokyo. Then, do you recognize me? Sorry, but I don't. She's Mio Takano-san. Do you remember when you were at the doctor's office and you still had a cold, Keiichi-kun? Mio-san here is one of the nurses who works there. Call me Takano. I'm pleased to meet you. I wonder if she squeezed over them like the shrine storeroom. That's very thoughtful of you. Tomotaki-san seemed to be quite entertained at the Sonozaki twins being in the same place, and he took pictures after picture. I've heard about them, but this is the first time I've actually seen a pair of identical twins. You really do look exactly alike. We're not just alike on the outside. See our underwear matches too. You idiot! What the heck are you doing? Things have never been as lively as when the two of them were together. I thought they were exactly the same at first, but I've started to get a handle on which one's which. Mion is Mion, and Shion is, well, she seems a far better actor than Mion was. In the first place, somebody that could spurn Mion so easily wouldn't have shown such weakness to those lard buckets at Angel Mart. If that was the case, then the cowardly behavior from that day was all... it was a complete act. They were even more alike than we were... they were even more alike when they were little. I hear even their parents had a hard time telling which was which. That's really easy to imagine. I totally understand what they must have gone through. Takano gave me a kind and odd look, but explaining would have been a pain, so I didn't bother. Tomotaki, are you going straight back to I almost did it again. Straight back to Tokyo after you get pictures of the festival? Yep, though I'd rather just stay here forever. Silly adult things and all. I hope your photos win a fabulous prize soon. I've been praying for it. Thanks. Next time I come, I'll bring the pictures I took of all of you today. Maibara-kun, you did a lot of work today. You must be tired from all that physical labor you're not used to. Huh? Well, I'm tired, but it's still pretty fun. Why is the photographer so buff? All carrying all the equipment? I'm gonna go with carrying the equipment. Youth. I'm so jealous. Takano-san smiled with an adult elegance that no one in my circle of friends possessed. He looks like a bodybuilder. He does. He really does, though. The wind caught her hair, and she gives off an intelligent beauty. Oh, why, hello, everyone! It seemed like our merry crowd was standing out. This time. An overweight older man addressed us. And again, it was someone I thought I knew. If I recall correctly, he's a policeman, isn't he? Oh, Oishi-san. Good evening. Doing a preliminary security inspection for tomorrow? Nah, haha. Something like that. Oh, if it isn't Tomataki-san. It's certainly been a while. I'm honored you remembered my name. You really do love Hinamizawa, don't you? The apartments around here are far cheaper than the ones in Tokyo. You should just move here and get it over with. I know a realtor I can introduce you to. I appreciate the thought. I'd very much like to follow up on that. Alright, everyone, have a good year. And a Happy New Year to the Sonozaki twins, too. Happy New Year, Detective Oishi. We appreciate your work. We'd like to end this year's festival with with the least amount of inconvenience as possible. That's pretty strict on me. Detective Oishi left us with a low laugh and headed off to talk to some police officers standing ways away. I gave Mion a glance, and I saw her making an annoyed face, as if she was glaring bullets at someone she hated. Yeah. It'd be nice if the police didn't have anything to do with the Watanagashi this year. You like this place too, don't you? Oh, you mean to say you dislike it, Jiro-san? I quite enjoy such fantastic stories, you know. Especially the times being so dry and interesting. The curse of Oyashiro-sama, you mean? Curse? Tomataki-san used a troubling word. Then suddenly someone tugged on my arm. Kei-chan, I'm pretty hungry. You want to go to the tent with the drinks and have some candy and sweets? Yeah, I'm up for that. I've gotten a little hungry as well. Okay, let's go. A moment later, Shion said something to Takano and Tomataki that stung my ears and gave me a start. I wonder who will die and who will disappear this year. I pulled back from Mion's grip and stopped abruptly. Shion, what did she just say? It felt like the air around us was dried out of all of a sudden. You distracted him the moment the curse came up. For real, for real. Let's go, Kei-chan. They're talking about something silly anyway. Oh? You still haven't told Kei-chan? I make it a point not to spread stories like that. Shion's cold and quiet tone and Mion's harsh voice were quite the contrast. Hey, wait, hold on. What are you talking about? If you know something, then tell me. It doesn't feel right being the only one left out, you know. I don't understand this. Someone explain it to me. However, Mion didn't seem to be at all willing to grant my request. She squeezed my hand and hers a bit, but when she realized I would hold my own ground on this topic, she let go. I'm gonna go to the drinking tent first, then. If you don't come soon, Kei-chan, there won't be any left for you. I get it already. I'll be there soon. Mion left, trotting towards the particularly noisy tent on the other side of the shrine grounds. Before she got there, she stopped and turned back around. I showed no signs of going after her, though, so she ran off. I could tell you if you haven't heard, I suppose. But it might be smarter not to ask and go with her to eat desserts. Hey now, you've already gotten my full attention here. I'm not going to leave without asking them at this point. I think Kei-chan has the right to hear this, too. My sister was just stealing that from you. Shion's voice was bristling with thorns, as if somehow blaming Mion. What on earth are you talking about? I don't really like it when people are acting so self-important. Takano-san, realizing how prepared I was, looked across the group. After confirming that there were no objections, she opened her mouth. Do you believe in curses, my Barakun? Curses? I think they're interesting, but I don't really... I felt their cynical stares, and I winced. It was like they were telling me it was stranger not to believe in curses. You're not wrong, Kei-chan. Curses are just superstition. It's only natural that you wouldn't believe in them. Mm-hmm. Besides, you can take all the time you need to decide whether to believe in curses after you've heard us through. said Takano-san, giving me a little smile. They're trying to scare me. At least, that's what it felt like. Alright, I'll start. Keiichi-kun, do you know about the Hinamizawa Dam project? Oh yeah, the other day at Angelmort, Mion, told me about it. You mean the plan for the giant dam that would flood all of Hinamizawa, right? That's right. Residents of the town banded together to fight it, and a fierce battle with the government unfolded. I've heard that too. The entire village united, using all the power at their disposal, mass media, political influence, and other things, and they fought the country. The way Mion described it made it sound like a boast. Oh, you know quite a bit. Yes, you're right. It's practically an epic tale, how just 1,000 or so villagers banded together and rejected the government's plans. Did you hear this from my sister? She likes those kinds of epics, you know. Yeah, she told me. There was, however, an office for Hinamizawa residents, a opposition faction. It was the shrine. You know the assembly hall? That's where it used to be. Now that the whole thing is over, the senior citizens just use it for group activities. At the time, though, it was their last bastion. Takano-san explained this, pointing a finger towards the assembly hall. I'd been carrying things in and out of it all day. I mean, I would understand if they put an office like that in the mayor's house or something. But having an office on a shrine grounds made it feel kind of like base camp for the Sengoku period warriors. That was basically the mindset, though. Placing the main force in a shrine dedicated to Oyashiro-sama, Hinamizawa's guardian deity, was like a prayer for victory. Oyashiro-sama. That was definitely it. They mentioned Oyashiro-sama's curse before. Is it the same Oyashiro-sama? Do you know about Oyashiro-sama, Keiichi-kun? It's the name of the god worshipped at the shrine. It's said that he protects all of Hinamizawa. Well, I don't really know much about him. I see. I think Takano-san knows more about it than the rest. Tag, you're it. Well, that is generally the whole story. Oyashiro-sama is the ancient god passed down in Hinamizawa, and the villagers say he has been protecting the sanctuary from poisons of the outside world. So essentially, he's a basic standard guardian deity. I guess you can find that sort of god anywhere you go. There's research into whether worshipping Oyashiro-sama is a manifestation of a kind of elitism, too. What I mean is that the worshippers might think of themselves as chosen people. Believing yourself chosen, a nationalistic belief that you are part of a superior race, or that you are a special clan chosen by the gods. They believe that they're a superior clan, so they believe strongly in cooperation with others, but they also end up being exclusionary towards other clans. I won't go into too much detail, but it's the sort of national and religious ideas that led to war. Of course, that goes for Japan, too. A long time ago, the people of Hinamizawa strongly believed themselves different from humans. They were above them. They believed that the interaction with the lower world would sully their souls. So everyone believed that if one of the lower world came to the village, they would be sullied and suffer the wrath of Oyashiro-sama. Apparently, that kept everyone away. Villages that hate outsiders come up all the time in Kindachi novels. This was once a run-of-the-mill village of xenophobes. Well, they'll deny it to preserve their pride. It was all a long time ago after all. Things are different now. Shion followed up quickly, having sensed the thorns in Tomotaki-san's words. Tomotaki-san, embarrassed at what he said, scratched at his head. So the shrine worships Oyashiro-sama, thinks of Hinamizawa as a holy ground, and it's a symbol of their traditional hatred of the outside world? I get it. So that's why they chose the shrine as Hinamizawa's guardian spirit, as the base of the operations, to resist the sullied dam construction project that came from the outside. Correct. Smiled Takano. She was pleased. She must dislike stupid people. Superstition, every last bit of it. The villagers gave everything, desperate to oppose the dam construction. And right in the midst of it, the incident drove home a finishing blow. Oyashiro-sama's curse. Oh boy. The person managing the construction site of the Hinamizawa Dam was murdered. 4 years ago, I believe. It took the newspapers by storm. Do you remember it? No, not really. We had a fight with a subordinate and was beaten to death with a pickaxe. His limbs and head were torn off and the remains disposed of. One of those dismemberment homicides. They were all the rage at one point. Such a gruesome incident. But it was just like that. An incident. A person caused an incident after all. Should they really put it down to a curse? Then the following year, the man who had organized Hinamizawa's group dam proponents. He fell from a cliff while on vacation and died. Apparently it was an accident. What a pleasant story to share with the kids, right? Of course, most of Hinamizawa was hostile towards him. The police were all over the case as if it were a homicide, but in the end, it was judged to have been an accident. Now it's an accident. This is the most curse-like one, but it's still far-fetched. And then, on the next year, this time the priest of the shrine contracted an unknown illness and suddenly died. This may sound a little rude, but the old priest was kinda wait-and-see type. The whole village was in uproar about the dam, but he just kind of didn't seem to want to bother. The shrine was a symbol of opposition, movement, and its priest, well, his attitude worked against him. The villagers at some point had hoped for a leader, but their hopes were betrayed. Some people were apparently pretty angry too. So at that time, all the older people were like, "This is Oyashiro-sama's curse." That's what they said. It did seem like every year dam-related people of the village had resentment towards were dying. It was pretty creepy. Oh, and also, it's interesting. All of these incidents and accidents always happened on the night of the Watanagashi festival. What? See? Starting to sound like a curse now, isn't it? Then the year after that, in other words, last year, the sister-in-law of the man who was the leader of the dam proponents, the one who had accidentally died, or was discovered dead, having been beaten to death? Of course they caught the criminal. See? Really seems like a curse, huh? 4 years in a row. Each one of the incidents and accidents were relatively commonplace. But every single one of them happening in the night of the festival, worshipping Oyashiro-sama? Now that's not normal. The instruments in the back are so good. It's such a mood setter. Yes. I know, and they hit that creepy piano keys just so good. The old folks have been blindly accepting Oyashiro-sama's curse because of the incidents these past few years. Even younger people, too. At first they thought it was stupid, but now nobody makes fun of it. Yeah, I can see where they're coming from. Even me, even if I don't think there was a curse at all. Thinking about all the incidents like this makes me feel maybe it's real. For example, just look at the preparations for the festival you were doing today. Everything might have gone crazy during the battle against the dam, but just a few years ago, the Watanagashi festival was never this well attended. Well, I guess you're right. If we didn't have Oyashiro-sama to talk about, we wouldn't have been all coming to the festival like this, huh? There's a lot of people who say that infidels might be punished, so they really need to go to Oyashiro-sama's festival. Shio nodded as if she were mocking herself. So how about it now? Kichi-kun, you're starting to get a feeling that maybe, just maybe, the curse is real, aren't you? I mean, you just can't laugh it off that people related to the dam project all dying like that. If even I feel like this now, then the more superstitious members of the village must feel stronger than that. Well, I mean, I still don't think there's a curse. I can understand those that believe there is, though. Wow, Kei-chan, you can really keep a cool head about this. Shion grinned, realizing I'd rejected the curse. If it's neither a curse nor a coincidence, then What should we make of these incidents? Takano-san said, smiling playfully as if posing a riddle. Neither a curse nor a coincidence, but every year someone dies. What should we make of it? Tomotaki-san, catching on to the fact that I had no idea what to make of it, opened his mouth and came to my aid. Takano-san is suggesting that it might be a work of real people. Huh? Simple process of elimination would have gotten me there. I was a little taken aback not to have realized the answers immediately. Well, think about it. If it's neither a curse nor a coincidence, then people must be willingly carrying it out. It's the only explanation, right? Pressed Takano-san, I smiled bitterly in spite of myself. Here, just a few minutes ago, thinking the very concept of a curse was absolutely absurd, when she suggested it was someone's doing, I ended up thinking there wasn't any way it could be a person. But Takano-san was right. It was either a curse or it was somebody doing it. If unrealistic things like curses didn't exist, then the obvious next step would be to start thinking about the people behind it. But if that was the case, I glanced at Shion. If the culprit is a person, then they'd have to be someone from Hinamizawa. That's what the police are after. That's what the police officer Oishi-san thinks right now too. Hey, wait. That can't be. I thought I now knew the reason Mion didn't want to talk about this. If a Yoshiro-sama's curse really existed, then that's fine. It would be a divine judgment for the dam project business. However, if a Yashiro-sama's curse didn't exist, which it obviously didn't, then the culprit would most likely be someone from Hinamizawa. The villagers had worked desperately to oppose the dam construction project. I knew they had all used all sorts of methods to fight against it. If one of those methods was, maybe, people whisper that Oyashiro-sama's curse could be the doing of a secret group in the dam resistance movement. Shion dryly put the words into my exact thoughts. Of course I didn't expect it. She was from Hinamizawa, so I didn't think she'd come out and just say it herself. Keiichi has made a fatal flaw in his thinking. He's the skeptic in the horror story. Bruh. If you calm down and think about it, anyone would come to the same conclusion. There wouldn't be a motive for anyone but the people who benefit from the opposing dam project, right? I guess that's true. Admitting to the existence of a darker side of the dam conflict would be rude to Mion, who spoke of it so highly. So I couldn't just accept Shion's seemingly logical viewpoint. Shaking my head, signed his death warrant the moment he denied the curse could exist. Rip. True. Oof. It's like the bye-bye man or the boogeyman or whatever. It's like the moment you think it's real, that's when he starts coming for you. One more thing. The police probably don't know this, but there is proof that someone in Hinamizawa committed these crimes, and the people of Hinamizawa know it. Huh? What? Shion rebukes me to keep my voice down. Sorry, but this proof, what is it? It's the fact that one person dies and one person disappears. One more person disappears. Did that mean that someone besides the one who died from the curse was a sacrifice? What do you mean by disappear? They just vanish and you never see them again? That's right. Suddenly and without a trace. As she spoke, Shion pretended to do a trick with her hands like she was making a magician's hat disappear. One dies a mysterious death, and one disappears, never to be seen again. A strange vanishing act. But then why? How does that equate to someone from Hinamizawa being a culprit? Well, actually, Hinamizawa has that one really old legend. It's about how people offered sacrifices to Oyashiro-sama to calm his wrath. Sacrifices? Yes. They say they used to wrap a living person up in a bamboo mat and let them slowly sink down to the bottomless swamp. Takano-san, though explaining something pretty terrible, had a look of glee on her face when she did so. As far as I can glean from the literature, it's actually took 3 days and 3 nights for them to sink. See? Even people a long time ago liked symbolism. As the body sunk, Oyashiro-sama's anger would be quelled. Both were submerged into a deep... Takano-san was the only one laughing. Was she telling a joke or something? Shion didn't move to deny it, but I felt a difference in temperature between her cool expression and Takano's. This whole conversation, well, I think you can imagine after hearing it, but it's the secret history of Hinamizawa. Everyone who has been in Hinamizawa for a long time knows it, but they don't talk about it. Takano-san's not from here, but she knows quite a bit. She really likes her local history, folk legends, stuff like that. She learned about it all herself, too. I'm not really that all amazing. I'm just curious, that's all. Like a child. I just want to see the scary things for the fun of it. Tomotaki-san laughed, a little bit embarrassed. Wait a minute. What does that mean? The other person who disappears during the incidents. You're saying they're offered as a sacrifice? Yeah. Shion answers in one word before anyone else can speak. Someone dies and someone disappears. Well, whether they actually get sacrificed or not is a different issue. But every time something happened in the past, one person died and one other person disappeared. For example, the first one. The dam site manager was killed. Apparently, one of the people responsible for that still hasn't been arrested. Couldn't that just mean he managed to get away? I don't see why we should treat him as a sacrifice. Well, that's basically what I think too. There was also a year after that, with the leader of the dam proponents. You said he fell from a cliff and died while on vacation, right? Apparently his wife fell as well. The police investigated fervently, but they were never able to find his wife's corpse. The river under the cliff was actually pretty high at the time, though. She could have just been buried under the sand at the bottom of some lake or downstream or something. The perpetrator of the dismemberment like that wouldn't have been caught, so they'd be desperate to run away and hide. I thought I'd heard about the cases where the corpse couldn't resurface after the person drowned in a swelled river like that. She vanished because of an unfortunate accident, but I still don't see the connection to the sacrifices. If you took each of the past incidents in turn, none of the disappearances evoked that terrifying of an image. The year after that, with the priest suddenly falling ill and dying, was much clearer. His wife left a suicide note. They found it in the house the night the priest died. It said something along the lines of her quelling Oyashiro-sama's wrath with her death. The curse. It seems to turn up in this one, though. Well, we may never know the truth of the matter. The swamp the wife drowned herself in was the giant bottomless one Takano mentioned before. The police investigated it, but all they could find were some of her possessions. They never found a corpse. The police suspect it was a fake suicide, and they're still investigating it even now. Someone dies every year, and in the same way, someone goes missing every year. Is she trying to tell me that everyone who has vanished was kidnapped by some extremely efficient means and dumped into the bottomless swamp, still alive and drowned to death? But a curse? That's unbelievable in its own right. And the next year, what was it? The dam proponent's sister-in-law? She was killed. And the same way someone disappeared. It was a boy around my age named Satoshi Hojo. He's the nephew by marriage of the woman killed. Shion cut in with a slightly strong tone of voice. She knew the boy who had disappeared pretty well. At least, that's the vibe I was getting. Well, that about sums everything up. One person always dies. One person always suddenly disappears. Leaving the suddenness aside, the fact that each incident involved one person disappearing, so that means the first person who dies is because of Yashiro-sama's curse, and the second person who vanishes is because the villagers sacrificed them? Is that it? Kei-chan, there is no curse. Somebody kills the first person under the guise of the curse, and then somebody takes away the second person to be a sacrifice. But, Shion, that means there's a criminal in the village. That's what I've been guessing from the start. It's pretty shocking though, you know? We live in this Showa period. It's kinda hard to believe people are committing murder like it's nothing, using some ancient justification, huh? It didn't have anything to do with our discussion. But I got the feeling that maybe Shion didn't like the Hinamizawa very much. Mion enjoyed talking about Hinamizawa and its epic tales, so she had avoided talking about Yashiro-sama's curse, which didn't paint Hinamizawa in a good light, no matter how you looked at it. She was trying not to give me a bad impression of the village, so she didn't say anything. Shion, on the other hand, was somehow different. She wasn't rejecting the concept of the curse to purge Hinamizawa of a bad impression, but rather because she strongly believed that a member of the village was a criminal behind this. Her conviction seemed a bit removed from the tight sense of community held by the people of Hinamizawa. Once upon a time, they looked so alike you could mistake them for one another. But talking to her now, I was getting a powerful feeling that Shion had a completely different personality than Mion. Than everyone else. They all think someone from Hinamizawa did it, right? Neither Shion nor Takano-san answered that. The deafening silence told me all that needed to be said. Then let me ask another question. If someone from Hinamizawa is the culprit, who is it? Oh boy. Oh man. Neither Shion nor Takano-san had a reply to that question either. Though, it may have been rude to ask, I had hoped they wouldn't have one. The reason I asked was to argue that their explanation that the culprit was from Hinamizawa was nothing more than one possibility. Shion caught on my plan. She gave a pained smile at my petty spite and opened her mouth to speak. Then who is it, bro? If they do, don't you think they'd talk to police? You'd think. All I said really just amounts to the circumstantial evidence anyway. If any of us knew who it really was, we'd have gotten to the police hands already. As would anybody. Then what about Takano-san? She too smiled dryly as Shion had opened her mouth to well, I'd like to clear one thing up. I'm not a detective or anything, alright? In all honesty, I'm not really interested in who the culprit is. Takano-san, you sure are a handful. Tomotake-san gives a bitter laugh at her surprisingly opinion of a matter of fact. You see, I just like the cruel and atrocious ancient traditions and fairy tales. I only enjoy them for a curious onlooker's perspective. So even for this string of incidents, it's not so much finding out who the culprit is, but enjoying thinking about how the old traditions displayed by the incidents themselves still seems to have some pretty deep roots around here. Though she described herself as nothing more than a curious onlooker, her smile was as sharp as the tip of a blade. Women like her felt very strange and a little scary to me. Maybe it's just that it was a fearful awe of the person whose emotions I couldn't comprehend. Well, I don't think any of this is interesting at all. The Watanagashi festival is coming up tomorrow, but I don't want anyone to die or disappear. Tomorrow, huh? That's right. It had completely slipped my mind. The string of murder incidents people attributed to Yashiro-sama's curse, it wasn't over. If last year's incident wasn't the end, then tomorrow night at the festival, would someone die and someone disappear? I do wonder who will die tomorrow and who will disappear, though. Takano-san said, running a comb through her hair with elegant movements, with a thin smile and a voice that nearly made me shudder. She almost looked like she was enjoying the thought of the incidents that could happen tomorrow. Then out of the blue, we heard a loud round of applause that seemed to be ending the drinking party early. Right, I was making Mion wait this whole time, wasn't I? I should get back to her soon. You're teasing the kid a little too much, Takano-san. Now Keiichi-kun thinks it's all true. I apologize. It's that bad habit of mine again. Takano-san sticking out her tongue bashfully. The strangeness in her expression was nowhere to be found. When Takano-san seems an innocent child like you, she can't help wanting to poke fun at him. It's a real bad habit. Keiichi-kun, you listened to everything so earnestly that she ended up getting carried away. Unlike Takano-san, Tomotaki-san seemed like a totally normal person with common sense. They were apologizing after realizing what kind of impression they'd given me. The stuff Takano-san said is all fiction. If it made you harbor any bad impressions of Hinamizawa, I apologize for that. I apologize. Don't even need to know if it was a fake, right? Geez, Jiro-san. You're apologizing too, Tanaka-san? Tell him you're sorry for scaring him. Takano-san and Tomotaki-san were arguing and messing around now. The strained air around us had already dissipated. Kei-chan, you should get going soon too, right? Mion is the jealous type. If she sees me, she'll probably start a fight, so I'm just gonna go home. Really? Then I'm gonna go see what Mion's doing and apologize for making her wait, I guess. Sorry for being such a nuisance, Keiichi-kun. Could you tell Mion-chan that we're sorry for bothering you for so long? Yeah, I don't think telling her will make her feel any better, but sure. Tomotaki-san and Takano-san, standing next to each other, both began to chuckle. Okay then, Kei-chan. Let's try and run into each other again at tomorrow's festival. We'll see each other. I mean, it's us we're talking about after all. We'll be making so much trouble, it'll be hard for you not to find us. Shion and I said our goodbyes, and Tomotaki-san and Takano-san. Before we could leave, Takano-san called out to us. Thanks for listening so earnestly to what I had to say. You're just so good at listening, and I had a great time talking to you. Good at listening? Not at all. I was just in a state of perpetual bewilderment from all the shocking topics being thrown at me one after another. Did you like the story today? Well, it was pretty interesting. Then I'll tell you some more sometime, alright? There's a lot of pretty interesting legends and fairy tales about Hinamizawa. Of course, a lot of strange, creepy ones, too. I'll choose a bunch of my favorites and tell you about them. I was kind of happy, but kind of worried. I can't help but smile dryly and scratch my head. Keiichi-kun, you can go now. Takano-san just messing with you. They say goodbyes again and run off. I heard Tomotaki-san call out behind him in a clear voice so that we would see each other at the festival tomorrow. When I went to the tent, Mion was waiting for me, and she was nowhere to be found. I made her wait so long, maybe she got mad and just went home. After asking some adults passing by, I heard that she went home, talking to some relatives. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But my regret for having made Mion wait wasn't enough to triumph over the impression Takano-san and Shion's uncanny story left on me. Serial murder incidents had happened 4 years in a row. Would tomorrow's events make this the 5th? And the possibility that someone from Hinamizawa was carrying all this out under the guise of a curse? The queer tradition of a ritual sacrifice, entirely unbecoming of the Showa period we lived in. I regretted it a little, though it was too late. If none of those creepy stories had anything to do with me, then I should have left Mion pull me away from that crowd. I felt a little ashamed about letting my cheap curiosity get the better of me. Ooh. That is one creepy, image there. There's the dark street. Holy shit, look at all those tips. Achievement. A little bit of elbow grease. You helped set up for the Watanagashi festival, it said. Oh, no, not all. Not all. Hold on, just the new ones. I don't want to get confused. Interesting chapter. Yeah. I mean, and just like last time, I'm pretty sure shit started going down after that festival, so get hyped. Ayy. Let's read these tips, bro. Festival's around the corner. Hey, are you worn out already? Tomorrow's the real thing. We're gonna be partying until morning, until the very end of it all. You got it? Got it. I'll give it everything I've got. Wahaha. Alright then. Youth is the greatest. Good work, everyone. Tomorrow is the Watanagashi at last. Let's get some shut-eye and save our energy for tomorrow. Tomorrow was finally the Watanagashi. Festivals are split into two groups, those who enjoy them and those who support them. The former only need prepare their minds, but the latter needs not only that, but also painstakingly crafted plans for preliminary arrangements. While the general majority attending one goes about enjoying the festival without a care in the world, will be strained the whole way through. Why? You sure as hell know why. Because the beer after everything over is the best damn beer you'll ever have. Wahahaha. At times like these, it's best to have an energetically, physically fit people. It wouldn't be worth it if you didn't do your best until the end, enjoying it the whole way. Oh, he's here. Oishi-san came in. Everyone hurried to stand up. Hello, everyone. Excellent work out there. You can be at ease. Thank you, sir. Not even my seniors, who usually talk big about themselves, can hold a candle to Oishi-san. We all bow as if we were one of those cheering squads of old. Kurado Oishi, a detective just waiting to retire, one who doesn't pay much mind to rules and regulations, and doesn't do too much in the way of real work. He looks like a rotten old man, with a penchant for dirty jokes. My seniors, though, tell me he was a real fighter in his younger days, and that he may not have quite the heroic legend trailing behind him. Anyway, he surely had much more dignity and presence in the room than the section chief who came with him. Everyone, I really, really thank you for your hard work in the preparations for the festival tomorrow. Everyone present stands upright and lends their ear to the chief's directions. We're on heavy alert for any thrill-seeking criminals expecting another incident this like last year. I need all of you to focus your energy as much as possible in your mission to prevent any crimes from happening. Yes, sir. Of course, it would be best if nothing happened. However, everyone, please assume that an incident will in fact occur. Prevention is number one, but it probably won't be enough. This year, too, someone will die and someone will disappear. There's really no doubt about it. Everyone apart from the section chief smiled painfully. Oishi-san, that won't do. We need to be more serious about this. The important part isn't to get past the night of the festival. It's to be able to quickly, swiftly, and aggressively pursue whatever does happen tomorrow night. I won't tolerate anything less than your best. Clench those cheeks. We're gonna rip all the skin off the ghost over Yashiro-sama's curse. Yeah. Oh, from the scrapbook. Number 1. Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the ancient Onikakushi village, the anger of Oyashiro-sama, his curse, was feared above all. However, it is seldom stated anywhere what eventually happens, and what sort of divine judgment, curse, befalls them when Oyashiro-sama is angry. From various reports, all hell will break loose. Demons will come flooding out. The miasma from hell will flood outward and kill every villager, letting not a single one escape. The ones invoking images of the village being annihilated stand out the most. These terrifying ideas of divine punishment are in alignment with many other religious beliefs regarding the apocalypse, hell. And it's easy to imagine that they are just ways of convincing people to obey the teachings in order to prevent such an end. The conditions for inciting Oyashiro-sama's wrath are likely the same as the taboos in the Onikakushi village. I believe that when an act was performed that violates one of those taboos, Oyashiro-sama was termed angry. And in order to quell his anger, they would perform an aforementioned sacrificial ritual. Scrapbook number 2. The human sacrifice ritual. The sacrifice ritual was simple drowning, involving plunging sacrifices into Onikakushi swamp, which was considered hallowed. Of the rituals of the Onikakushi village, this one was unique in the sacrifice could sink slowly over the long course of 3 days and 3 nights. I believe that it wasn't so much the killing of the sacrifice that was important, but rather the symbolism of them sinking as the submerging of a Yashiro-sama's anger. For that purpose, they must have had a passion for learning various methods for keeping the sacrifice from sinking too quickly, to force them to sink more slowly. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell from the records, those methods were not recorded. My thoughts are that they may have used logs or some similar material to create a graft. Then set up for a scaffold on there, hung the sacrifice up on the ropes, and let them sink little by little over time into the swamp. However, if that were the case, it would not be strange if the ritual implements used for such a ceremony were honored as holy and enshrined somewhere. Scrapbook number 3, baby. Implements used for ritual. Ritual tools utilized for ancient religious ceremonies are commonly referred to as implements or ritual implements, and even now, some of them are enshrined on the property of the Furude Shrine and the 3 families. However, the identifiable tools are all decorative, and none appear to have been used in the rituals governing the dark side of the Onikakushi village. As the Edo era came to a close and many traditional rituals were lost, were they lost as well? Or perhaps buried in the darkness? I don't believe so. Both the implements used on the night of the festival and the onikakushi and those during the sacrificial ceremony must still exist, enshrined away from the eyes of the masses. Without a doubt, they exist here, today, at this very moment, in Hinamizawa. Also, I'm nearly certain where they've been enshrined. What once locked Steadfast has for some reason changed this year to a cheap-looking padlock. He may be able to do something about such a lock. However, it is not far from the assembly hall, nor is it even far from the presence of people. However, I will not give up. The night when it becomes a blind spot to every villager in Hinamizawa is coming up. Soon, it will be Watanagashi. Okay, I will say, sometimes when we get a tip, like, it's super duper clear, like, what it's talking about, right? Like, this one, it's telling us that like, the police know something is gonna go down. Like, they know it is, so we should expect that something will go down. I think this is also a tip kind of trying to explain to us, you know, this is in fact somebody murdering people. But these 3 are interesting to me. Because to me, they don't, if you're someone going into this completely blind, right? You won't, like, whose scrapbook is this, would be your thought, right? But, like, having seen the anime, it's like, I know whose scrapbook this is. And this isn't so much a tip as just telling me what's about to happen. And then sometimes they're just like, those biker dudes got their bikes and got arrested. Yes, and then there's tips like that where even I'm like, why the fuck is this a tip? What is this telling me? Unless that biker dude one was like the game trying to tell us Oishi is suspecting, I guess, of the Sonozakis. Like, it's like, what? Because him and Mion, right, in the first book, we know they had beef because Mion, we learned in the first book that Mion had been arrested during the damn riots, right? So we know they have beef. But, like, it's almost like he was trying to learn more about Shion, because he thought that was Shion. Perhaps it was more about, no, he knows how tight-knit everyone in the community is. Yeah, you know what? Actually, yeah, that's a way better way to look at it. and they'll resist the outsider. This is true. Yes. But then I do like that thought, but at the same time for me then I'm like, that's such a waste of a tip, because that fact gets put in our face throughout the entire first book, right? The fact that like the minute Keiichi starts like second guessing the village is when the entire village is like staring at him weird, you know what I mean? So to me that seems like a really weird idea for that to like be, oh, here's a tip. But anyway, this scrapbook, I'm gonna tell you what I know, because I know whose scrapbook this is. It kinda, I mean, in the chapter we just read, it's kinda obvious, I think. But this book, seeing as how we just read the scrapbook, it's pretty obvious this is what's about to happen. This is Takano's scrapbook. So she's the one thinking, like, researching the rituals, about the tools, and this is her saying, we're gonna break into their ritual shed during Watanagashi. Oh, Yashiro Samba's book! Oh! Oh, wait, my bad. But yeah, no, this is Takano's scrapbook. So to me, these aren't tips, because we just learned that, okay, so these two first books are like, this is explaining what the ancient rituals, this is explaining that they had tools to use. And this third one, it seems to be the only one tip. So it's like, I don't know. In the chapters, like, she kind of gave us that info already, that she knows about these rituals. But it's like, this is her, I guess, putting down her thoughts that, like, I guess she didn't tell us that, like, she knew there was tools somewhere. But, like, this book is literally her saying she's going to try and break into the shed with Tomotaki-san. Yeah, it makes sense. It's all her observations about the village and whatnot. Yeah. So, I'm excited. Because, like, having seen this arc in the anime, I know that this is where the climax is. I mean, to be fair, every Higurashi book, I will guess. The climax is always gonna be the festival, right? Because why the fuck wouldn't it be? But at least in this arc, what arc is this? Oh, this is literally just called the Watanagashi arc. That's so funny. Anyway. Naruhodo. Yeah. You're getting it. You're picking up the sticks. You're putting it down. Alright. But today, I am feeling spicy. So we're gonna read the next chapter too, and I'll just adjust the thumbnail later. But we will take a brief intermission here so I can, like, you know, get some more water. It's like, it's weird, like, just talking like this normally. I won't lie, my throat kind of hurts. My throat kind of hurts. I think it's because I'm nonstop trying to also voice act. But yeah, so forgive me if I kind of have like a calmer, slower reading for this next chapter, but I do want to try and get through more than one a day. Get your sippy, treat yourself. Yeah. Beer, man. This is going to be the best beer we've ever had. Anyway, oh my god, and I still need to make a be right back screen. I'm so sorry. You'll just have to see my disembodied body for a minute. Alright. BRB, I will be right back. Go yourself, get your restroom, get a stretch, get some food, get a snack, whatever you need. We'll be back in like, I don't know, like 5 minutes maybe. Probably less. Anyway, I'll be back. I'm back, baby. Classic Bluma, not unmuting herself. We love it here. Got your tea? Good shit. Oh, good. I'm glad the Pogger face was there. Oh, French fries do sound good. Oh, shit. This morning, we were like, the roommates and I were like, it's the weekend. Let's go get food. Like, I don't want to cook. I don't want to do anything. And so, but then they were like, but like, none of us really like going out for breakfast food. So, like, we all were like, man, let's go get lunch then for breakfast. And we're like, yeah. And we live kind of near a McDonald's, so we all started walking to McDonald's. And it was just, there's so much construction, so it's like, it's a proper journey, right? It's a journey to get there now. Even though it's like a few blocks away, construction makes this just an Olympic feat. So we're going, and we're all like, wait, when does McDonald's serve lunch? Because none of us want to get a hash brown, right? So one friend's like, oh, I got you. And he Googled it, and he's like, okay. Says they serve breakfast at 10:30. And I'm like, are you sure? I'm pretty certain they don't serve breakfast until like 11. And at this point, it's like 10:28. And so he's just like, no, for real. I was like, bet, all right. And so we get there at like 10:35. And sure enough, only breakfast on the menu. We were devastated. So I'm like, guys, I have a solution. Also, told you so. I have a solution. Let's go get Cane's. And we started walking to Cane's. And this is another few blocks away through all the construction. So now it's just like, we're on some epic journey, right? And we get there, and then we go to move the door, and then somebody goes, wait, we had Cane's like 2 nights ago. We can't eat it again. And I'm like, what do you mean whatever. And so, moral of the story is, when in doubt, just get Jimmy John's. Because we went and got Jimmy John's, which is like right across the street. So we walked literally all the way around the neighborhood, like what felt like twice, to get Jimmy John's. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Always get Jimmy John's. I wanted Herbs and Gerbs. Sorry, Herberts and Gerberts, I think is what they're actually called. I always call them Herbs and Gerbs. But, like, there's not one in the neighborhood anymore. Sag. It became, like, a salad place, I guess. Couldn't be me at all. You love breakfast food? I can't. I can't do breakfast. But especially not cooking it. Alright, we agree on that. Scenic route. Oh, wow. Also, welcome, Jose. Sorry, I didn't even, like, greet you. My bad. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. But welcome in. I'm glad you can be here for some Saturday readings. It used to be a Sunday morning with our coffee readings, but we do Saturdays now, mostly. But yeah, no, I cannot eat breakfast food. You know what? Good for you. I won't knock you for it, but like, man, I don't know what it is. I can't eat it. Like, it makes me sick. There is a certain kind of pancake I can eat where it's like the instant mix, but instead of using water, use Sprite. It'll change your life. That pancake I can eat. Sausages are okay. I've gotten pretty good at eating toast, but I don't know what it is in the morning. Like, I just can't eat. Like, the only thing I can get, I've been able to get down Pop-Tarts pretty good. Like, I've been able to eat Pop-Tarts, the chocolate ones. Not the fruit ones I can't do. Those ones make me sick too. I'll try it, but bro, what? Yes. Instead of water, next time you make pancakes, use Sprite. It makes the batter really fluffy and sweeter. We did it for science class once. There's something about the carbonation that makes it super fluffy, I guess. Breakfast food from fast food places, I can't do it. Same, bro. Like, I think when I was smaller, I was able to eat, like, maybe a hash brown or two. I don't know what it is, yeah, but I just can't do breakfast food, especially McDonald's breakfast food. I guess, to be fair, I've never been to an IHOP, so maybe there's game changers there. But, like, I just can't do breakfast food. I don't know what it is. I just get so sick in the morning. I don't know, man. I've heard if you put pancakes in a rice cooker, they get insanely fluffy. Bet. I'm gonna have to try that. Unless, wait, is this another muffin joke that I can't read because it's just text and I don't know if you're joking? But Pop-Tarts are just sugar. Moving on. Yeah, no, I know. But at least it's something in my belly so I don't get insanely hungry at like 11, right? Because I can't go to lunch that early. But yes, welcome in everybody. Look up Super Fluffy Pancake. Alright, bet. I'll do that. Because I do have a rice cooker because I'm not a barbarian. I'll do that. Alright, we are going to continue. We are going to be starting Chapter 7. I'll have to fix the title and thumbnail later. I didn't know for sure if I was going to go for 2, but we are definitely going for another chapter. So let's... Oh wait, I can just... Yeah, and then continue. That's right, we didn't actually close the game yet. Alright. Wah! It's Keiichi-kun! Good morning, good morning! Reina was ecstatically waving her arms at me, already brimming with energy. Sad no rice cooker barbarian. Oh, Muffin, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, but no, I recently got a juicer too. So like I can have like some like juice in the morning. Cause like I can drink things just fine. But like I just can't eat. So I've been trying to do that for some meals. What do you mean good morning? It's already evening. Just say hello or something. But this is the first time I've seen you today, so I think good morning is right. It's right. I got it. Okay, good morning it is. Good morning, Reina. A single pancake that's like 3 inches tall. With, put some chocolate chips in it? Shit. Don't know the whole process, but apparently you can make them with a rice cooker. I'm gonna look into it. No, for real, I will. Because that does interest me. I think, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's the density of pancakes and waffles that makes it hard on me in the morning. I don't know. Because, like, at dinner time, there have been times where I eat waffles for dinner and it's just fine. But if I try and eat them in the morning, it comes back up. I don't mean to be too gross TMI, but they come back up. Like, oh, let me get a sippy. Because I made some water. Sorry, I put some gamer subs in some water. I shouldn't say I just made some water. Yeah, bro, made some water and basically Jesus. Anyway. I grabbed Reina's head and rubbed it with my hand. She squirmed, revealing an emotion like a cat. Sounds the best. Fluffy pancakes, yes. Get some chocolate chips in that shit. Hey, Kate-chan. Sorry about yesterday. I left without telling you. Nah, it's not my fault. Sorry. It is my fault. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for making you wait so long. Are you talking about setting up for the festival yesterday? How was it, Keiichi-kun? Did you do your job properly? The slight muscle pain throughout my body and my sluggish movements were already obvious. I did great. I'm pretty worn out, though, now. I grinned dryly, and the three of us break into laughter. Where's Satoko and Rika-chan? Are we meeting up with them at the festival? Yep. Rika-chan's actually been there since yesterday because she has such an important job. I think Satoko-chan stayed with her, so they're already at the shrine. Right, I just remembered. Today was Rika-chan's big performance. She'd been practicing especially hard for today. As her friend, I needed to make sure I went and cheered her on. Alright, let's go right away. Yeah! As we got closer to the shrine, we started passing by more people and seeing a lot of parked cars. It began to get noisier too. I thought I could hear something like a bomb dance song. Without being able to restrain my impatience, I dashed up the entire flight of stone stairs. Kei-chan, you're going too fast! Wait for me! Man, Kei-chan, you're such a little kid. Whoa, the shrine grounds, they were packed with people. It was a festival if I ever saw one. Yeah, okay, I love these books. I don't think they look bad, but I really wish that somehow included in them could have been like CG art? Is that the right word? Like actual arts of the scenes and not just like these edited photos with the character sprites like this. You know what I mean? Like in other visual novels, like there's like cinematic screenshots or whatever. I don't know. I wish there was... I feel like there is them when I look at the Steam page, but we never see them in the book. I don't know. Maybe I'm... Well, I can't even say I'm, like, making the wrong choices, because I don't get to make choices. It's true, some of the BGs look fine, but this one's not great. Yeah. They're coming from Hinamizawa. The bedridden old man from the Kimiyoshi branch family is here, too. Wonder if there's a setting? When I looked at it, the only setting I remember seeing is the one where we pick either these character sprites, which are the... what's the word? The remake sprites, or we pick the OG sprites that were made way back whenever this book first came out. Because all these books are like... God, what's the word? Remake? Refurbished? Refurbished? Like, they updated all the sprites and redrew them. Because, like, we could set it to show, like, the old sprites, but, like, nothing against that artist, but I don't think they look the best. Like, they're fine. A lot of people say that they prefer those ones because they're the classics. I mean, there's problems with these sprites, too, that I see, but... I don't know. I'll have to look again, though. Shit. Shh. I think the old guy went home from Watanagashi last year, stayed in bed ever since. Yeah, there were a lot of villagers here that I didn't really know. They must have all been pouring in just for today. Oh, it's Satoko-chan. Hey! Oh, if it isn't everyone. Yes, hello to you all. Yo, Satoko. There's a lot of people here today. Don't get lost in the crowd, okay? Who do you even think you're talking to? Satoko, too, seems somehow energetic. Of course, I'm the same way. Huh? Where's Rika-chan? She still has free time, doesn't she? Rika is giving her respects to the mayor and other important people. She shall come before long. I see. Rika-chan is the shrine maiden for today's festival, after all. It's probably a pain for her to say hello to all the elders. It really is a pain. Hello, everyone. How? Rika-chan! I wanted to take you home. Rika-chan wore an immaculate shrine maiden outfit that looked fresh off the shelves. It was a perfect fit for her somehow mystical in appearance. How does it fit? It's not too big, is it? My grandma gave me some safety pins just in case the sleeves are too long. It's alright. It's really comfortable. As she spoke, she began to do some twists and stretches. It's great, it's so cute! How? There was approximately one person here getting a nosebleed from watching Rika-chan move. Keiichi-kun, don't you think she's cute, don't you? If you don't, then she'll be all mine, and I'll take her home with me. I think she's really cute. Totally cool. Enough that I want to pretend to be her big brother or dad and take pictures with her. If we take a picture from 2 different places and make it stereoscopic, we can eat, or rather stare at, a real-life Rika-chan at our houses whenever we want. How? That sounds great! That sounds fantastic! Reina's eyes and mine glittered with stars as her noses bled and we drooled. Rika, you'd best stay away from them. Yeah, or I might get locked away in a basement somewhere. Jesus Christ. You look like you're enjoying it though, Rika-chan. Me? You're being harsh. We all laughed together. Okay, let's not hang around here. Let's get to the festival. There's not much time left until Rika-chan's big debut. You're right. Great, let's go, everybody. Yeah! Yo, if it isn't the daughter of the Sonozakis, eat up. The yakisoba is packed full of pork. This year, we filled it up as much as we could. We even put in fried calamari. Gotcha, old-timer. The yakisoba this year looks like quite the achievement. You have a squid, too. You put in a ton of time into this, didn't you? Wow, it's tasty, it's tasty! Yeah, the squid is delicious, but the aroma is just fantastic. It wonderfully compensates for how soft the tends to be. There's a delight amount of squid and pork in here, too. God, wait, it's in the same thing? Oh, I don't know if I could do that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, not bad at all, I say. Haha, Kei-chan, you sound like you could walk into a cooking program and become the host. Yeah, when I see Keiichi-kun acting like it's so good, it somehow tastes even better. I don't discriminate among delicious food, so anything that I could say is tasty has got to be worth trying out, right? Then, Keiichi, please give us your opinion of the yakisoba again. I'll do it in 2 words. Absolutely scrumptious. I had a second stomach, I'd buy another one right now. Having heard my 3-star rating, the whole line of people suddenly formed in front of the yakisoba stand. Wow, that's amazing. Kei-chan said it was so good and a little crowd started to form. Not bad. It was nothing to brag about, but I still decided to stick out my chest and put on airs. Oh, is that so? Then perhaps I shall try it out. Mister, could you perchance bother you for 1 takoyaki? Satoko bought a stick of takoyaki, balls of fried octopus, from the adjacent stand, and after blowing on it, put one of them into her mouth. How is it, Satoko-chan? If you give a good rating, then Rina will buy it too. Chomp chomp, chew chew, gulp. Now it's time for the Hinamizawa Michelin judge Satoko Hojo to give her impressions. Though she was all for the moment ago, Satoko hesitated to give her thoughts. Hey now, what's the matter? Everyone else takes one of their own and puts on their mouths. Huh? Rena got gypped. Mine's bad too. There's no octopus in it. This takoyaki vendor. Could this be some sort of summer festival only octopus-free takoyaki stand? An evil takoyaki stand that skimped on the octopus because they figured it would make them a good money today. Oh, mine has some. Yeah. It's pretty good, considering there's octopus in it. How am I supposed to explain that this is octopus-free takoyaki is any good? Everyone wondered about that. Our quizzical looks seemed to be drawing an equally dubious stares from the people in line. How about this? Takoyaki without any octopus is really healthy. And even people who don't like octopus can eat this delicious takoyaki. Wait, is it even takoyaki if there's no octopus? Isn't the taco the octopus? After hearing that, several surprised guests left the line. It had the exact opposite effect. Cheaping out on the main ingredient? Bruh, for real. Alright then, let me give it a try next. A self-inspired take on takoyaki, in which you can clearly taste the simple flavors of the flour, green onions, and pickled ginger. The unaffected taste is bolstered by the absence of octopus. Yeah, I'll take some takoyaki. I'll hold the taco. It wasn't half bad, but after hearing that there's no octopus in it even more people left the line. Rika-chan, any good comments? You can be honest. 400 yen is too much for this. That was too honest. Even more customers leave the line, dealing a lethal blow. There were other takoyaki stands around, after all. Well, I mean, we might not want to be doing this. Hey, Satoko. You started all this, so give us a great big turnaround. What? I cannot do that. How do you expect me to lavish the praise upon takoyaki without octopus in it? You idiot. Satoko's angry outburst was the finishing blow. The customers are all gone. Huh? The one guy is staring at us. Why is that? Why is that? Huh? There's no saving this crowd. Perhaps I, Keiichi Maibara-sama, will lend a generous hand. Keiichi-kun, you could do it. We want you to save the takoyaki vendor who didn't put any octopus in. Don't smile as you say something so bitter. Alright, fine. This may be the only chance you'll get to see a pro at work, so watch carefully. I shoved the stick into an octopus-less takoyaki and crammed it in my mouth. As before, there wasn't any octopus in it, but Mion's had some in it. That was the important point. The man who runs this takoyaki stand, he truly loves takoyaki, in every meaning of the word. No, I could even said he adores it. Eh? Everyone gasped in surprise, including the takoyaki vendor glaring at us. This man truly does love takoyaki. And because he loves it, he doesn't want to create half-hearted random ones. Isn't that right? The takoyaki vendor looked down, unsure. Those watching were listening intently, wanting to know why octopusless takoyaki deserves such a high rating. I'd rather have taiyaki. Ooh, is that... Oh, that's like fish? Oh, that does sound really good, bro. Shit. I don't know if I've had octopus, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Keiichi-san, if he really and truly loved takoyaki that much, why did he make takoyaki without any octopus at all? Is he not betraying the very takoyaki?
You may be right. In one sense, it is betrayal. However, it's the best possible compromise that this man could find. This man is making real takoyaki today, as he always does. However, only 1 or 2 of them in each stick are real ones. Well, you're right. The one I ate had octopus in it. And considering it did actually have it in it, it didn't taste bad at all, you know? Right. That was a bona fide takoyaki. And as for the other ones, it was the biggest compromise he could make against the bias of the general populace, who all think that there need to be 8 pieces on a stick, or else it's not real takoyaki.
Huh? Keiichi-kun, I don't understand what you mean. Why is one of them the real thing and all the other ones are fakes? Why?
The secret lies in the octopus. Mister, this octopus. It's true Akashi octopus, isn't it? In recent years, the number of octopuses caught in Akihashi has decreased, and their prices have risen drastically. The prices are now so high that you wouldn't think of using them in takoyaki. Then the man, who had been looking down at us whole time, mumbled, "Yeah, that's right. Akashi octopus is very expensive." But this man absolutely had to have Akashi octopus. He could have bought much worse quality octopus for cheaper, as much as he wanted, and he would have still been able to fool everyone. There are plenty of other scamming takoyaki vendors who claim theirs are Akashi, even though they're not. But this man, he wouldn't accept it. He wouldn't tell lies. Akashi octopus are supreme. He would never relinquish one of this stubborn conviction. This man loves takoyaki. That's why he never lied. Yet, there was one point that he absolutely had to compromise on.
What might that be?
The number. The popular opinion is that a stick of takoyaki should have 8 pieces on it. Even if it's real Akashi octopus, he couldn't charge 400 yen for just 1 piece, could he? If he didn't have 8 pieces, nobody would buy them. This man wept over it. In order to make just 1 true piece of takoyaki, he wouldn't ever let himself lie through the other 7. Oh, whoa! The octopus-free takoyaki vendor burst into tears. I gently clapped one of his shoulders. No matter what anyone else says, I will never forget how genuine you are. You, sir, are a true vendor of takoyaki. You are the only one in the world who has the right to call himself that. Pachi, pachi, pachi. As I embraced the shoulders of this man, shredding such manly tears, these watching delivered a round of applause, moved by my speech. Everyone, I beg of you, please eat some of his true takoyaki vendor's takoyaki. If we don't treasure genuine men like this, then how can we protect the true path of takoyaki? If nobody else will eat them, then I will eat them all. Jesus Christ. Wah! Everyone's watching is lining up. The truest takoyaki. Hold the taco. Sure, Keiichi got that vibe of he could sell ice to an Eskimo. Isn't that the saying?
Keiichi-kun, you did it! You did it!
I think it's more they thought Keiichi-chan's propaganda speech was interesting rather than the takoyaki actually looked good. Kei-chan, you could probably sell plain old rocks if you tried. Yeah, see? You would go over well at the entrance of the Akihabara station.
Rika, I have never held this as Akihabara. Where is it?
Absolutely stunned at my successful pitch, the guy manning the stall next to me called out to me. Hey, you guys. Do that for my sweets, too. Great, you all get the gist of it, right? It's your turn this time, Reina.
Okay, I'll do my best. How? When apricot sweets are cold, they're very, very good. The apricot is sitting so quietly and nicely atop the syrup. How? It's so cute. I want to take it home. How? It looks like she lost herself in this midway, though.
But a girl giving us such a natural praise for itself bringing some customers. A line quickly formed behind Reina. Next up, the Okonomiyaki stand. Satoko, you're up.
Well, the crunch of the fried tempura butter mixed with the yakisoba is simply to die for. With a huge piece of bacon laid on top. When you bite into it, it all comes flooding out. Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, that's freaking great. Now I want you to try some too. Then a huge line formed at my words. What on earth is this? So basically, all these onlookers are just following us around to the stands. Man, I'm really looking forward to trying that okonomiyaki. Yeah, that did sound like something. Tempura with bacon on top? Hello? When people hear about food from others and then try it themselves, it tastes a lot better than it normally would. So that's it. Even Rika-chan was gorging herself on food, getting sauce on the bib that she put on to prevent her shrine maiden outfit from getting dirty. Nice. The older guys are getting into it too. Okay, Kei-chan, which one should I do? Right, Mion, you go stand next to that. Show them the depths of your power. But Kei-chan, the stall next to that is... Oh, whoops. A goldfish scooping stand. That's a bit out of our element. No. As club president, I won't flee no matter who or what my opponent is. Let's get it started.
I look forward to a splendid performance, Mion-san.
The onlookers were also watching Mion with the hopeful eyes. Welcome, welcome. Here's your net and bowl. Okay, here we go. The goldfish are energetic today. They really look delicious. Small things like these, you could crunch them down whole.
Mion-san, what in the world are you saying? Mi-chan, you eat them? Did you eat one Reina caught last year too?
No, I didn't say anything like that. Mion's face went red as she took in the vehemently in denial. Well, I mean, you just said so yourself that they looked really delicious. Yeah, you did indeed say that. My sister is omnivorous. Omnivorous. Shit. She eats anything that she can get in her mouth. Oh my god. You gotta watch how you phrase shit, Shion. If they taste good, then maybe I'll try one next time. No, Rika-chan, don't. You'll get sick. Wait a second. Hey, what the hell? Shion, how long have you been here? Hey, Kei-chan, Mion, everyone. Good evening. Where did you come from, Shion? I've been here since a bit with the yakisoba. You were all so loud that I found you right away. Jeez. You've got nothing to do with this, do you? Go somewhere else. Jeez, Mion, don't treat me so cruelly. Right, Kei-chan? You're okay with me being here, right? She asked, grabbing my arm and pushing her chest into it. Bounce. Oh man. Keiji-kun, you're a pervert. Your nose is bleeding. When you squish a jelly donut, the jelly comes out, okay? It's the same thing. This isn't something I have any control over. Is that right? Then will more come out if I squeeze harder? Eh? Shion, her cleavage, it's right up against my chest. Oh, Jesus. Ugh! Shion, what the heck are you trying to do? How vulgar. I seem to have misjudged you. What about my flat chest? Rika-chan claps onto my arm too. Rub. A plentiful plump feeling on my left shoulder, and the sour sensation of a young, unripe fruit on my right. How? Boom boom bang. Shion, Rika-chan and I, our faces now bruised, fell to the ground, limbs sprawled. Nice job, Reina. Everyone is so dirty! How? Reina punched me. It really hurt. Rika! You get what you deserve. Sheesh. Now that Shion was here, the energy around us had increased 120%. Your friends are so much fun, Mion. I'll never get bored of them. Right. If you weren't here, it would be way more fun, you know. I want to stay with you all, but if I continue seducing Kei-chan, my sister looks like she's literally gonna bite my head off. So, I'll retreat for now, but I'll be back. See ya, Mion. Don't come back. Get some salt. Someone get the salt. After teasing her older sister so much, Shion ran away into the crowd of people and disappeared. I feel that I have borne witness to a rare side of Mion-san. When Mi-chan is with Shi-chan, she looks kinda cute. Reina smiled happily, earning her a whack on the head from Mion. Don't say dumb stuff. Let's get to the next stand already. We went about just like that, really noisy and lively to the other stands. We were paying money towards the beginning, but midway through the guys running the shops thought we were just too funny and ended up being able to fool around without paying much more. Imagine being you just talk so good that the stall keepers just give you things. Thump. The vigorous sound of the big taiko drum echoed through the air. Rika, it looks like it's about time. Yeah, looks like it. Right, it's just about time for Rika-chan to appear in the offertory dance. I'm a little nervous. Believe in yourself. All of your sweat will definitely amount to something, Rika-chan. Mion slapped hard on Rika-chan's back. That's right, you'll do fantastic, Rika. I'll do my best. Yeah, that's the spirit. I ball my hand into a fist and raise it in the air. We're rooting for you, Rika-chan. Go for it. Yeah, remember? Go for it, yeah! Rika-chan gave the best smile I'd ever seen, then pivoted on her heel and ran off. Okay, we should get going too. Right, let's go cheer her on. Okay. You mustn't. You must keep silent during the performance. I got it, jeez. I run my hand through the hair. She was worried about her good friend up to the end. Then we better hurry. All the good spots will be taken. Come on. Mion ran off and everyone else followed a moment later. A large amount of people had already clustered into the tight space to watch the edifying dance. Wow, this is a lot of people. I turned around to look at everyone else, but nobody was there. Where did everyone go? They probably got lost among all the people. Finally, I spotted the back of Mion's head in the other side of the crowd. It definitely doesn't look like I can get there from over here. Well, we got separated. No big deal. We can just meet back up when Rika-chan's dance is over. I gave up on finding the others and wandered around, trying to look for a place where we'd be able to see it better. It didn't take long for me to realize that I'd have to settle for watching between the heads of people in front of me, though. Thump. Once again, an even louder taiko drum resounded. This one was to announce the beginning of the dance. I couldn't see very well, but it seemed like Rika-chan had come to the stage with the elders, who were already in priestly garb. I heard low exhalations of admiration, and the seniors rubbing their prayer beads in gratitude. Everyone's heads were in the way, and I couldn't see. It was really frustrating. We should have cut playtime short and come here to get good spots earlier. After Rika-chan intoned the prayer, she took the festival hoe and walked to the pile of quilts stacked on the altar. That's right. The point of the ceremony was to purify bedding and hold memorial service, wasn't it? Then, the solemn offertory dance began. She had practiced using mochi-pounding mallet. The awkwardly shaped festival hoe Rika-chan held seemed really heavy. Back and forth, up and down. It was doubtlessly difficult even to lift it into the air, but she sweated and waved and raised and dropped it again and again. She couldn't just deal with it and do it grudgingly. As the shrine maiden, she needed to retain the dignity and solemnity present in the festival. There must be a ton of pressure on Rika-chan's soldiers right now. Damn. Why am I cheering her on from a place I can barely see her? I'm her friend, so I should be right up there, the best spot, rooting for her. Kei-chan, over here. Someone tugged tightly on the back of my shirt collar. It was Shion. She beckoned me outside the crowded ring of people. She had a mischievous grin on her face, and I took it as her saying she knew a good place nobody else knew of. Shion, what's up? Shh. Just be quiet. Come with me. After she told me so, she ran her big detour around the throng. Man, it's great to have somebody who knows the lay of the land at times like this. Impressed through though I was, I nearly lost sight of her right away. No more getting separated from me. I ran after her so I wouldn't be left behind. As I wondered in anticipation of what kind of secret spot Shion had in mind, we left the crowd of people and went around the back of the shrine grounds. Hey, wait, where are we going? We're getting further and further away. Shh. Just stay quiet. Follow me. You'll understand soon. Shion gave me a wink and reminded me as if Mion had said that. No sign of people, and not much moonlight. It was dark. We had gotten pretty far from the crowd of people in the shrine grounds. How are we supposed to see Rika-chan's dance from here? I see. There's some high spot around here, isn't there? Like a rooftop or somewhere we can look down at, right? What? Why do we have to climb on the roof? Well, how else are we gonna see Rika-chan's dance? Did you really want to see Rika-chan's performance? Kei-chan, could it be that your strike zone is really that low? I don't think we're understanding each other here. Weren't you gonna show me somewhere I could see Rika-chan's dance easily? What? Who made you that promise? What is going on then? Why me? Why did you always misunderstand Shion? Is it my fault? Am I just reading the wrong things into it? Then why did you call me all the way out here? With an expression that indicated she wasn't fooling around, Shion pressed her index finger to my lips and said slowly and quietly, "This place is a dark, dead, empty spot. You can't see it from the festival grounds, and now a male and female of the same age are all alone together." Huh? Could this be Shion? She's not planning something crazy again, is she? Shh! Look over there. See? Shion whispered, pointing into the dark underbrush. And there we saw two figures, one male and one female. What's that? Is that? We're right at the scene of the rendezvous, of course. See? Look closely. Can you tell who they are? I peered intently into the dark as Shion's suggestion. Oh, it's Tomotaki-san and Takano-san. The two of them were clearly breathing quietly and glancing around to make sure nobody knew where they were, as they crouched before the entrance of a wooden storehouse. Shion being bold, yeah.
Wait, Shion. Could this be what you wanted to show me? Kei-chan, you can see Rikachama's dance any year, but you won't ever get another chance like this, okay?
I had thought the Sonozaki sisters each had their own personalities, but at times like this, they seemed all too similar.
I'm going back. Don't call me for something like this again. Huh? If you move now, they'll see us.
At our noisy argument, Takano-san suddenly turned around. Oh my, and who might that be? We held our breaths and tried to wait it out, but it seemed like Takano-san was now acutely aware of our presence. Shion and I exchanged glances, then gave up and climbed out from behind the bush. Well, hello there. The moon sure is beautiful tonight, huh? My. If it isn't Shion-chan and my Barakun. Good evening, and yes, the moon certainly is pretty. What's this? Keiichi-kun, you sure are smart, you know that? Having a secret date in a place like this? I guess we accidentally interrupted something important, huh? You're the ones who were meeting up secretly. Tomotaki-san and Takano-san laughed at themselves and got the nerves for some reason. Wait, so you two aren't having a little rendezvous then? Of course we aren't. Though I don't dislike that kind of romance. Unfortunately, this wasn't the location of a rendezvous either of you would want to see. Sorry for not living up to your expectations. If this wasn't a rendezvous, then what were you doing? Tomotaki-san, were you just messing around with the padlock on the door just now? Huh? After she said that, I looked at the two of them again, and I definitely saw it. They were hunched in front of the warehouse door, fiddling with a pretty heavy-looking padlock. Guess we've been found out, huh? We were trying to break into the warehouse. But don't tell anyone, okay? Don't tell anyone? Are you thieves or something? I demanded unthinkingly, just because of how absently Tokomotaki-san was grinning. Nah, never. Thieves are people who steal things, right? It's not like we're trying to take anything out of here. I see. Then why are you trying to unlock the door? This is a forbidden storehouse for ritual tools. They say only the Furude family and a mere handful of others are even allowed in. Forbidden storehouse? I took a few steps back and looked at the entire warehouse. It certainly looked like one, built, removed from many other signs of people, almost as if in secret. It was filthy, revealing how little it was ever opened. And it was built to be a durable, giving it strange, overpowering impression. Now that I looked at it more closely, it was certainly different than the normal warehouse. This place. They called it ritual implements. Basically, this is a warehouse where they store such tools used for the rituals. Well, more accurately, maybe it's a temple where the implements are enshrined. The ritual hole Rika-chan is using for the offertory dance was in here until today. Of course, if anyone but the Furude family enters, they bring impurity into it, so absolutely no one is allowed a single step inside. It's a sanctuary. Shouldn't we absolutely not be coming to a place like this then? However, Takano was wearing a childlike expression, an innocent smile at best, and terribly cruel grin at the worst. I told you. I was researching Hinamizawa's folktales and legends out of an interest in them, didn't I? A lot of answers to questions I'm curious about are hidden inside here. I've waited all this time until today for this chance. A chance. Everybody's eyes were fixed on the dance at the shrine grounds today. This was the ultimate blind spot. I see. I didn't know you had lockpicking skills, Tomotaki-san. Stop. I don't want to be doing this, okay? Sorry for taking you along with me, but this was all thanks to you, Jiro-san. I really am grateful. Sheesh. This is the only time, understand, Takano-san. I don't want to be sneaking into places like this. You really are a good person, Jiro-san. Kerlink? Tomotaki-san undid the padlock and placed it onto the side. It's open. Thank you. At long last. Takano-san gulped, with an unusually excited air about her, she gave the heavy door a shove. The sharp smell of mold and dust flowed out from the gap of the doors. I had claimed curses didn't exist, but in this situation, I could believe in them. If we went into such a holy place with our shoes on, it feels like we'd be punished somehow. How about it? You're accomplices too. You came all the way here, so why not come in and take a tour? It'll be a little field trip in the Museum of Precious Cultural Artifacts that conceal the secret of the history of Hinamizawa. It's only open today. We're not accomplices or anything. Aren't you interested, though? Come on, let's take a peek, Shion said, predictably linking her arm with mine. But we definitely shouldn't be doing this. This is a holy warehouse, isn't it? You said ritual implements, right? I really feel like we shouldn't go in. I'm a part of the Sonozaki family, so I have a good guess as to what we'll find in there. But I want you to see it too, Kei-chan. You want to show me something? I thought it was just a ploy, but Shion's eyes looked entirely serious. Of course, she was the sort who could lie with a straight face. Of course, I was an average boy, too. My curiosity was at least twice that of a normal person. Sleeping, forbidden treasures, never to leave this warehouse, chances like this don't come around too often. If I had to choose, then I want to see. Until the locked door is open, though, I don't know about this. If you're not interested, Kei-chan, then you can just leave now. I'll think you'll wonder about it later, though. Tomotaki-san spoke after listening to our discussion, himself having sat down on the stairs to take a short rest. I'll keep watch here. Go on in and check it out with them. I'm not too interested. But it might be pretty interesting for a young guy like you, Keiichi-kun, he said, laughing mischievously. There was no ill will in his laughter. Tomotaki-san, do you know what's in here? Kinda. Takano-san told me about it. Wait. Must be a pain to have to go along with your companion's unique hobbies, huh? Tomotaki-san didn't answer that, only responding with a pained smile. Takano-san had this kind of scary air about her. Like, she'd drop absolutely everything else for something she had an interest in and go straight for it, but Tomotaki-san, on the other hand, seemed like the gold standard of what a normal person should be. Having him tell me so frankly to go check it out suddenly made me guilt even lighter. Okay, but just a little. And if it's not interesting, I'm leaving. You got it. Shion gave me another Mion-like wink. Looks like we've decided. Shall we go in? Jiro-san, we'll leave this to you. Tomotaki-san waved his hand to see us off. The inside was pitch black, but Takano-san turned out the battery-powered lantern she'd bought, revealing a pretty cramped front room. It's so dark in here. Everyone, take care not to trip over anything. I appreciate the concern. Okay, doorman, keep a good watch. We're shutting the door now. Takano-san smiled spitefully, as if leaving Tomotaki-san out of something fun, and began to close the door. Man. Alright, everyone, have fun. There was a low, heavy, and loud noise, and we were all completely cut off from the outside world, and covered in the silent darkness. Takano-san's lantern was the only light we had. It'll be fine. It's an outdoor lantern with backup batteries inside. It won't go out or anything. Looks like Takano-san noticed my uneasy expression. I couldn't help but blush a little and avert my gaze. Deeper inside, there was a heavy and old but sturdy door with solemn decorations on it. It was the last door sealing away what was within. Strange how it was an antechamber, even though there was just a warehouse, isn't it? I believe it's a setup this way so that when you open one door at a time, never letting the room with all the tools be seen from the outside. Takano-san explained this, awfully impressed by the construction. But still, it's really dark in here. Huh? That over there, I spotted a circuit breaker hanging from a clump of wiring, clumsily attached to the wall. Oh, here, isn't that a light switch or something? I flipped the biggest switch I can find, and with a click, The pitch-black room was illuminated by one old bare light bulb. Everyone scrunched up their faces at the sudden strobe-like brightness. Don't! Before she even finished, Shion slapped my hand and flipped the switch back. There was another loud click, and the room returned to darkness, only for the lantern's illumination. Ow! You can't, Kei-chan. We snuck in here, remember? If you turn on the light, it might give us away. I'm scolded by Shion fairly harshly. It looked like she was worried about something, whether someone had seen them or the momentary light. It's all right. It was only for a moment. Takano-san remained a relaxed adult. It seemed like she was confident she could talk her way out of someone did see us. Let's go in. Here we go. There. The even heavier door opened, and this time, it wasn't just dust that came out with the air. It was also a nasty smell. One smell was like opening dust-filled cupboard in the back of the kitchen that hadn't been opened in years. And the other smell, the nasty one, it was hard to explain, but it was like the raw odor of a fish market. From how the sound echoed, this room felt far larger than when we first. Takano-san held up the lantern and revealed the contents of the expansive room. Whoa! At the back wall of the stairhouse, right in front of us, was a Buddha-like holy object standing there, looking down at us. I was taken aback by this unseen force, lit up by the slender beam of the lantern. That's the guardian god of Hinamizawa, Oyoshiro-sama. It's far grander than the one at the shrine, Oyashiro-sama. So this is the spirit protecting Hinamizawa, the one guarding the holy land of Hinamizawa from the impurities of the outside world, and the one delivering punishment after punishment upon those who attempted to sully the land of the damned construction. It looks like there are far more tools stored here than I thought, but this is so sad. None of them have been maintained. How unfortunate they're in such a state. Even in the dim light, I could see a lot of strange objects lining the walls, the ceilings, the shelves. Takano-san, speaking as if in a trance, was infatuated by the various implements filling the dark room. They weren't very festival-like or traditional, but instead, it was more like a workshop of a blacksmith or carpenter. There were a lot of large wooden metal tools packed in there. Putting it bluntly, it was all pretty boring stuff. I'd imagine there would be more artistic things in here from the Heinen period, but these are a far cry from being cultural artifacts. My expression betrayed my dashed hopes, and they caught on right away. Oh boy. Oh? Is this not interesting for you? Blacksmith, carpenter, or butcher, yeah. I'm not into literature or art, so I can look at this stuff, but I don't really understand its value. Keiichi-kun, you really do look like you don't get it. I guess that's only natural. Takano-san reached into the paper bag she'd been holding this whole time, took out a worn scrapbook, and began to flip through it. Her she's scrapbook! Then just for you, Keiichi-kun, I'll tell you an old story. It's a common tale in this region. If you go to the library, it would be even in their recommended reading list. Telling stories in such a dark, creepy place. She must have a horror story in mind. Shion's face battled nothing but calm. If she had the same personality as Mion, she'd have found fault with me in being scared. I'll endure it for now and pretend to be calm. Okay. Alright, I'll read it. After confirming that I was going to be quiet and listen, she began to speak softly, like a kindergarten teacher reading a picture book. Long, long ago, in a certain village in the mountains, there was a swamp. This swamp was very, very deep. Some even called it bottomless. People said it was connected to hell, the land of demons. The rumors said it was deeper than the ocean, and that anyone it swallowed would sink into the underworld, a bottomless swamp. Its name was Onikakushi, Wait. I thought back to the story I heard yesterday about the sacrifices sinking in a bottomless swamp. Could it be the swamp she's talking about? So then the village was Hinamizawa, right? You catch on quickly. That's right. Though it was once called Onikafuchi Village at the time. Onikafuchi Village. It's a pretty inauspicious name. It invokes quite the image, doesn't it? I hear that name was changed to Meiji period. The name of the swamp connected to hell was called Onikafuchi, which meant the demon's abyss. And the true name of the village, Hinamizawa, was Onikafuchi Village. The villagers belonged to that abyss, or to hell, in other words. They lived their lives worshipping the swamp and said to connect to it. But then, one day, demons began to appear, one after the other, from deep in the swamp. The villagers feared that hell was overflowing. The demons mercilessly attacked the villagers. They could only watch in fear. They could only do more than hide themselves and tremble. So did someone exterminate them? Unfortunately, there is no Momotaro or Superman in this fairy tale. Then, did they get the whole village together to fight him? Heavens, no. The villagers were nearly strong enough to fight on equal terms with demons. Then, the only recourse would be to flee the village. They couldn't do that either. To the villagers, it was their beloved homeland. It didn't matter how terrifying the demons, they wouldn't have run away so easily. Then, what did they do? Wouldn't they just get wiped out? Unable to fight and unable to run. All they could do was wait for the village to be destroyed. Then, when everyone had lost hope, their god, Oyashiro-sama, descended unto them. I see. So Oyashiro-sama came down from the sky to beat up all the demons then. You're such a boy, Kei-chan. You always jump straight to using force to resolve things. Shion sighed, a little annoyed. Embarrassed, I held my tongue. The thing about Oyashiro-sama, he wasn't a violent god who would beat them up, like you're saying. He was a kind god, filled with love and benevolence. The strength of Oyashiro-sama descended from the heavens, and it couldn't be compared to that of the demons. They didn't even fight. They simply prostrated themselves before his radiant authority. Oyashiro-sama urged them to go back to hell from whence they came. The demons wept and challenged him, saying they could never return. The world of the demons, too, was harsh in commandments. They claimed they had been banished from hell. Demons? Who didn't have a place to go, either in hell or the human world? Of course, they were at fault for attacking the village. They deeply reflected on it and were sorry. As the villagers conversed amongst themselves, little by little, they came to pity the demons, and, after talking with everyone in the village, they decided to live alongside them. A lot of fairy tales have them being exterminated or driven away, but you don't often hear the one where they live in peace. You're right. Demons are supposed to symbolize all evils. A story where they decide to live together with humans is certainly strange. When demons first heard the villagers' invitation, they doubted their ears, but soon burst into tears of joy. The villagers had given them a place to live. It was said that the payment for this good deed, the demons shared their many kinds of power and secrets with the villagers. Oyashiro-sama was very pleased with this happy exchange. He gave the demons the bodies of humans so that they could indistinguishably from the villagers. He himself decided to stay on the surface and watch over them, everlasting peace between them. A land in which man, demon, and god all lived together. I thought the word demon was a noun meaning evil that needs to be exterminated. A god may have meditated for them, but you don't often hear happy endings like this where both sides live in harmony. I see. I guess that is kind of interesting. Although a normal fairy tale ends here. It was revised quite a bit during the Edo period into a much longer story. After that, the humans and demons intermixed, and eventually there was no difference between them. So the demons ended up disappearing? No, not at all. Half of them stayed just as they were. The knowledge the villagers had received from the demons basically made them into something inhuman, or what people call transcendent. They were all well aware of the power that was hearsay, and those below worshipped them. They lived out their lives in secrecy. This story is the root of many derivative tales and pieces of fiction. It's the foundation, I mean. The basis. What do you mean by root? She means the part about the villagers having demon blood. What I mean is, all the legends from around here are based on the premise that the villagers were descendants from demons. There was a hint of amusement in Shion's face as she said that. It was like she wanted to say that she too had demon blood in her. Yeah, it would mean that the people of the village have demon blood, baby. Is there any proof, though? Maybe it's somehow rooted in the historical fact beyond just fairy tale? Oh. My Barakun, then do you believe that demons really did come out of the swamp and breed the humans? Well, it's not like I don't believe it, but... When she said demon, she meant the ones from hell, but in ancient Japan, the word wasn't necessarily used to denote that kind, right? The more well-known use involves the drifting foreigner theory. As the story goes, Westerners who were shipwrecked in nearby seas had such markedly different customs that they were called demons. Japanese people were relatively similar in appearance to other Asians, but everything about those from the West were different. Their physiques, their faces, the skin color. In Japan, terms like red demon and blue demon evoke images especially of Westerners. Lacking in skin pigments, Westerners would be sunburned and easily turn red. Being fair-skinned, I think blood vessels appearing on the skin would be blue too. A handful of accidental aliens would drift into Japan and come under the persecution called demons. They would flee into the mountains to survive, turn into bandit groups and attack villagers for food and the like. How does that explanation sound? Maybe it's a bit childish. Takano gave me a weird smile, and then, having come up with such an impromptu hypothesis, I unconsciously followed up with self-deprecation. Still, she didn't smile as if she made fun of me. It's not ridiculous. There are a lot of people who would subscribe to the drifting foreigner theory. Even so, nobody actually knows what happened. Were they groups of foreigners who had turned to banditry, or were they really demons who had come up from the bottom of the world? Then, Takano-san, which one do you believe? The truth of the matter aside, I'd rather believe the more fantastical explanation. It's more fun that way, isn't it? Her answer made her sound a wee bit like a romanticist. Hiro thought she'd reject unrealistic stories like that. Now then, this is where the fun begins. Takano-san brought an end to her storytelling, and waits for a moment, as if to tantalize us. Huh? Suddenly, Shion looked around as if something had caught her eye. Her head bobbed to and fro, like she was making sure nothing had changed. What's wrong, Shion? I'm sorry. Please don't worry about it. Shion pretended as though nothing had happened. Takano-san also made sure nothing had happened, then cleared her throat and broached the next subject. I explained that half of the villagers were demon blood. The blood they actually say that's the blood of the kind of demon that eats people. Man-eating demons? That escalated quickly. That blood still runs through the villagers' veins. They say that sometimes the blood awakens from its slumber. I thought the fairy tale had a happy ending, with the humans and demons living in peace, but it began to suddenly change into a brutal, bloody story. Well, they eat people. They say that every decade or so, they can't help but want to feast on human flesh. The villagers can't eat other villagers. So, when this happens, it's said that they descended on the human villagers and abducted the onikakushi. What's an onikakushi? Broadly speaking, it's when a demon kidnaps someone, when the person is demoned away. They say the villagers of the Onikakushi would overwhelm an unfortunate human villagers in order to kidnap sacrifices. That explains some weird behavior in the last game, right? Right? Takano-san's explanation was plain and simple, but then I imagined that it must have been like, it was terrifying. They lose their human reason. The villagers turn into real demons en masse. They attack the villagers they loathe and the dirty world of the masses below. And then they kill and eat the sacrifice. So they're no different from demons after all. What did Oyashiro-sama do? Wasn't he supposed to be staying in the village and watching over them? Oyashiro-sama knew about it, of course. Onikakushi isn't an indiscriminate. The villagers apparently never kidnapped anyone other than the sacrifices decided upon by their god. In the text, it's usually one or two people. A village inhabited by those both human and inhuman. It was like a heartwarming episode colors had inverted, like negative film, revealing the painful and the ugly truth. So on the nights when they raided villages, they would feast on the kidnapped sacrifices, which is why the nights came to be known as Watanagashi. Watanagashi? Tonight's festival was Watanagashi. I just couldn't reconcile the fun festival with the horrible tale Takano-san was telling me. Watanagashi, well, wasn't it about giving thanks to the futons we used over the winter or something? Oh man. Kei-chan. Wata has another meaning, you know. It means entrails. Shion, who had been silent until now, spoke. Entrails? Yeah, I guess that's true. Like, fish guts. Wait, what? Like a jigsaw puzzle, the fun times I had today and Takano-san's grotesque tale clicked together in my mind. Watanagashi. Gut spilling. I didn't think saying it could ever feel so nauseating. They're still in the warehouse, right? Yeah, they're still in the warehouse. Yes. It's as you imagine, my Barakun. Right now, the Watanagashi Festival might just be a somewhat early summer festival occurring every June, but it used to be different. It used to be a ghastly, cannibalistic feast, held on the night the villagers could collect their unfortunate dinner. That can't be true. I had no real reason to say that, but I couldn't help it. My Barakun, you said that Watanagashi is a ritual about purifying futons, right? Good thing you're talking all the time after illegally entering a warehouse to tell these stories, right? She's like, we gotta break into this spooky building, because it's gonna be the best place to tell you about this spooky story. We need to commit a crime to get you your spooks. Like, what do you think the futons filled the cotton with wata represent? Futons are futons. They're beds. They're things for sleeping in. What else could they possibly represent? I was rattling on, desperately attempting to deny the horrible festivals that Takano-san was describing. Deep down, however, I found myself understanding all too well what she meant. Futons stuffed with cotton. If cotton represents entrails in both pronunciation and meaning, then entrail-filled futons would have to be humans. Why don't you think back to the offertory dance Rika-chan performed? Don't you know? Well, I didn't get to see it this time. What she was doing up there? No, I don't. I didn't even get to watch the whole thing. Bam, right there. Shh. Kei-chan, you're getting too worked up. Shion grabbed one of my ears, reminding me that this was somewhere where I shouldn't raise my voice. Even so, I still can't suppress the agitation I feel. Rika-chan was carrying a festival hoe. You probably realized it already, but it's not a hoe for plowing fields. It's a tool for dissecting human bodies. I didn't see the dance all the way through, so I don't know what kind of performance Rika-chan was putting on after I'd left. When I was told this to Takano-san, she kindly explained Rika-chan's dance to me. To summarize what she said, after what I'd seen, Rika-chan would pierce the futons with the hoe, cut them open, and pull out the cotton inside. She'd cut the cotton out one bit at a time, and set it afloat. That's what kind of ritual it was. Broadly speaking, it was quite the bombastic ceremony where they'd rip out the guts and throw them in a basin. And then the ritual was over. It's thought that afterwards, the villagers, each with a different role, dismantled the flesh piece by piece and feasted on it. It's Takano-san's strangely happy giggle. I felt for some reason violent displeasure. Rika-chan, Holy shit, bro, fix your muffler. Every day during lunch break, she'd take a rice-pounding mallet into the schoolyard. She'd worked so hard, sweating bullets, to practice for the offertory dance she had done today. All that effort, all that work, Takano-san disgraced it. Even though she worked so hard to practice for today. Thought that was the wind in game, bruh. Nah, just some dude trying to get home and kiss his dad on the lips as loud as he can. Oh man. Takano-san, I think you should choose your words more carefully. Kei-chan's pretty naive, so please don't tease him so much. A moment before I opened my mouth to express how angry I was, Shion stopped me. Shion must have been fully aware of how that story made me feel. I'm sorry. I thought you'd like a story with that sort of shock value, since you're a boy. Takano-san spoke without a hint of malice as she smiled gracefully. After hearing all that, did you figure out what kind of this stuff is in this warehouse, Kei-chan? Kiss his dad on lips. Don't forget the tongue. It's true. It's true. That loud of a car? Blah, 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 blah. Shion pointed at one of the walls vaguely illuminated by the lantern's light. There was, mere moments ago, they hadn't held my interest. They were just boring-looking tools lined on the shelves. Ugh. All those uninteresting tools that I didn't understand how to use, they all suddenly took on a new meaning. I couldn't help but let out a groan. At first, they had looked like carpentry tools, like chisels and planes. However, when I thought back, I'd seen pictures of these silver tools before. Yeah, they came up in a Japanese history book. Yeah, on the page introducing Kaitai Shinso, or the next text on anatomy. These sorts of things. They're printed realistically in literature of Germany, capital of the medical world. These aren't carpentry tools. These strangely shaped tools, they're for dissection. Everyone knows that the Edo period, they would dissect the corpses of those who had been put to death in order to gain knowledge about Western medical techniques. Illustrations of the dissection tools they used at the time came up in textbook supplements. The things hung on the wall all looked exactly the same as those. If you want a scary way of looking at it, think of them as cooking utensils. Takano-san, holding the lantern, the only light source in the room, led us along the wall. She had the only light, so I had to walk after her whether I liked it or not. Look! Takano-san illuminated a coiled chain, which left a bigger impression on the other things we saw. The chain itself was nothing unusual, but further along the metal fetters that were like hinges, clearly meant for binding people. Kei-chan, look at that. Shion tapped me on the shoulder and pointed to a restraining table that was clearly shaped like a person. My spine froze. My body felt like it was turning into a sherbet as it crawled up my back. On each of these joints, there were things like chains and iron balls attached. It was like the table was searching for its next sacrifice, ready to spread open their arms wide and close them in. It's probably a chopping block. I think you'd strap the sacrifice down and prep him for eating. The words chopping block sent a jolt down my body. When I looked more closely, there were many dark slices carved into it, as though from a knife or a saw. They were most clear cut signs of usage that you could ask for. It proved these tools weren't just for show. They were used for the original purpose. If someone was strapped tightly onto the table, they probably wouldn't be able to move even a muscle. Their guts would be defenseless. You'd take one of them eerie cooking knives lined up over there and stab them in. And then you slice open their belly and dissect them. I'd heard the stories, but this is incredible. Before coming here, Shion had mentioned she had a good guess of what was inside, but it seems to have exceeded her imagination. There's still more. How about it? More fascinating than a wax museum, isn't it? Takano-san had this happy expression like she was visiting a toy store for the first time. I don't get it. This Mio Takano person has nerves of steel. Are these bizarre, grotesque objects that fascinating to her? I, for one, was not enjoying myself. And I'll be frank, this was all too weird for me. Still, there was something even more horrifying than all of this. And that would be none other than Takano-san herself. Takano-san, holding the lantern giving off such a thin beam of light. If she suddenly turned it off, then what would I do? When the next moment everything went totally dark. That's why I was scared. I'll be thought you were Keiichi. This fucking liar. Now he's trying to gaslight us. You believe this shit? At some point, Shion had started holding onto my shirt sleeve. It was a little annoying to walk like that, but I didn't shake her off. That minor sensation allowed me to feel the pressure of an ally here and now. Before we even walked halfway through the storehouse, the air felt on my skin changed completely. First himself, then his audience. Fucking for real, bro. These cruel tools lined up, all crammed together in this place. Some were horrible ones made to take away sacrifices' freedom, and some were tools made to efficiently disassemble and prepare the bodies for consumption. Those were just things I understood. There were plenty of other strange-looking objects that I couldn't even guess the purpose of. Now that I was here, I didn't have the slightest desire to hear the details about what sort of terrifying reason they were meant to be used for. And at the very least, they were all completely different from that sort of clean, simple killing function of a katana. Tools to kill people were obviously constructed in such a way that would kill people. If that was the goal, then the person who used them would obviously end up dead. The kinds of tools here, however, were different. The tools that were here were for cutting people, for crushing them, for boiling them and cooking them, and for grinding them. They were tools of torture. They weren't made to kill people. People dying was just an incidental result. Actually, they might not even kill them. If the sacrifices could die during such a horrifying ritual process, that would be nice, but they don't even die in the end. They remain in a state of hellish pain. Perhaps they were only being allowed to live. Only now in this moment did I fully realize just how horrifying and fearsome that difference was. People, you see, most of these wouldn't kill them, if used properly. Takano-san, as if reading my mind, displayed a shocking smile. Burning at the stake, the famous method of execution for witches, will kill the person immediately. When the body suffers extreme burns on the skin all over, the decomposition of the skin's chemical makeup produces poison-like symptoms and causes immense shock to the victim. Though I suppose it's still very cruel compared to the guillotine. You'll have to wait far longer for that to happen. You know what I learned? When witches got burned at the stake, usually what killed them was, like, inhaling all the smoke. Like, they wouldn't even burn to death first. They would suffocate. I'm sure, like, that fact is still true. Like, getting all those burns would fuck up your body, but, like, most of them died from suffocation first. She described such horrors in a strangely medical way. Shion immediately answered the question I had. Smoke and lack of oxygen. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Takano-san is a nurse. There's a saying that nothing can scare a doctor, so I guess that's true. Oh, and also, there was a method of execution in ancient Rome where they would grill the person, just like a barbecue. They would cover the person in wire netting and slowly cook them over a charcoal fire. To think the memories of when I would when I went to a day camp with my family would come rushing back to me, now of all times, so vividly. That's what it was like. Apparently they wouldn't die too easily for some reason. According to one source, even if they roasted one side of the person to a crisp for the entire night, they would still be conscious and able to speak fluently. That's insane. You'd grill someone for a whole day, and they'd still be conscious? It's said that ancient Rome was famous for their executions, though plenty of ways to execute someone while having the victim stay alive as long as possible. Among them, there was one method where they would cut open the gut, pull out the intestines like sausages, and then pull them up on a winch and put them on public display. Shion was behind me, clinging to me. Not just because she was scared. She was protecting her stomach. You would think someone in their intestines pulled out would die instantly, right? Actually, as long as you do it tenderly and thoroughly, it's apparently possible to pull them out while the person is still conscious. Yeah, I remember. This happened in Hannibal. Like, one of the doctors that was talking shit or something, a murderer, like, cut them open and with, like, surgical precision took out all the intestines and had the guy hold them, and he was still alive, even with everything of his, like, on the outside. It was nuts. It was like my organs were coiling up, just from Takano-san's stare. Though pulling them out in a winch was rather an exaggerated method. In a more barbaric way, they might slice open the gut, then cut the intestines out and throw them everywhere. It's quite imaginable that they did dreadful things like that too, isn't it? It's possible to pull them out as they go and they're still conscious. Well, don't mind me as I go unconscious. Right? However, those being put to death are conscious. It must be far more terrifying and painful. She spoke with pleasure, as if she had come here on a sightseeing trip. I heard Shion gulping multiple times in my ears. Perhaps Hinamizawa, or rather, Onikakushi village, did something like that for the Watanagashi festival. Listen, if you try hard, can't you hear it? I wanted nothing more than to not hear anything at all. So why? Why only at times like these do I begin to hear things I shouldn't be able to? Takano-san, having realized she'd scared Shion and I enough to at this point, smiled soothingly. Then she turned on her heel, raised the lantern, and began to walk again. If Takano-san left us here, we'd get even further away from the light. Shion and I, no matter how scared we were forced to follow Takano-san along her field trip, even through the ritual storehouse. I suppose we've seen a bit of everything. See? This place is interesting, isn't it? She says, raising the lantern high in the center of the storehouse. The dim lighting didn't change, but for some reason it felt like I was able to see all those horrible tools at once. Kei-chan, look up. Shion stammered while grabbing the nape of my neck. I couldn't tell because it was so dark, but there were a lot more tools hanging from the ceiling as well. They all looked like they were made of iron bars, but then I figured it out. Cages. For cages, they were very small. Cramped cages just for one, like a casket. If you got locked up in there, no, you wouldn't get locked inside it. It was just another tool meant for restraining people. Where the iron bars would squeeze you so tightly. So many, big and large, things of all shapes, were hanging down. Takano-san's mention of execution by grilling crosses my mind. We weren't just surrounded on all sides by these terrifying instruments. Things crowding the ceiling, or even hanging over our heads. There are many of these sorts of bird cages among European torture devices. I'm surprised to see them in Japan as well. Kei-chan, is there something in there? A person? A mummy? Where? Shion desperately pointed to one of the many human-sized bird cages hanging from the ceiling, but I couldn't tell which one she meant. Being that dark, there wasn't any way I could tell if something was there in the first place. I don't see anything. You sure you're not seeing things? Shion didn't seem convinced, but without a means to confirm ourselves, we couldn't do much about wonder. My Barakun, after seeing this, have you come to believe any of it? The countless terrible rituals passed down in Hinamizawa? It's got nothing to do with it believing in them. The real question is Shion acting scared right now or not? Yeah. Is she actually scared? I think she might be. Now that I've been shown the real thing like this, there's no possible way to deny it. Even the nations of Europe, with all their beautiful landscapes and legends, were like a maelstrom during the terrible witch hunts in the Dark Ages. It's well known that the era gave birth to countless gruesome forms of torture and execution. Japan was the same way. Didn't it have its own era hellscape, like torturous feasts because of the religious superstitions and things of that nature? Hinamizawa itself had such a period. It had a much history behind it. Even in Europe, land of witch hunts, that was all far in the past, no more than series of historical events, and in this age, nothing that abnormal would ever happen again. That must apply to Hinamizawa as well. Just as Europe had its dark age, Hinamizawa had one too. That's how this should be taken. Even if these things are all really happened in Hinamizawa, they're all in the past. They don't have anything to do with the people living in Hinamizawa right now. My Barakun, you really do like this village. It didn't sound like she was making fun of me. Yo, with it. Takano-san gave me a light smile. Takano-san, you're researching whether those customs survived into the present. You are, right? Shion suggested something that made my heart leap into my throat. Are you telling me all these horrible things are still going on even today? What I'm about to tell you is a secret, alright? I told you, Shion-chan, because you're an understanding person, but the other villagers don't want to hear it. If things go awry, it could be ganged up unpunished. Shion flashed a devilish smile, as if revealing the immortality of it. Mabarakun, you can keep a secret too, can't you? If things get out, I could suffer Yashiro-sama's curse, or be made into a sacrifice. If it's the curse, then I wonder what kind of death it'll be this year. If it's the sacrifice, then I will be thrown into the Onikakushi swamp. Why, while I'm still alive? It is tonight, you know, the night of the Yashiro-sama's curse. Takano-san said, bringing her face right up close to ours, as if to say if she had the choice, she'd rather suffer the curse. That was what she seemed to be implying. Takano-san took a fairly worn notebook out of her paper bag, and then began to flip through its pages. There were all sorts of references and newspaper clippings attached to them, and it had all manner of things written inside. The letters were very small and bunched together, so I couldn't tell at a glance what it was about. What I'd really like to do is search through the National Library for newspapers from the era, but... here it is. A photocopy of a page that some book was slid into the notebook into it, and written in small tight lettering. Like the other pages, I couldn't tell what it was about just by glancing at it. This is a story that actually happened. It was around the end of the Meiji era. They discovered an unknown, mangled corpse, the victim of the murderer in Onikakushi village. An old newspaper clipping attached to the page spoke of something that was no mere rumor or fairy tale. We don't have most police documents from the time anymore, so it's all based on oral traditions and memories. See? It's not very clear, but it looks like a cutout of the newspaper from the Meiji era. Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Could it be the work of a demon? Being a copy of a copy, it was very hard to make out, but it was more than enough to make me feel strangely tense. Near the end of the Meiji era, in an old Onikakushi village, a mangled corpse was discovered. The identity of the corpse was unknown. it wasn't even in a state where it could be identified in the first place. It was missing a head, and each limb was separated from the body. Skin had been peeled off the entire body, and there were markings that implied terrible torture in every place imaginable. And not only that, but the belly had been cut open by a sharp knife, with the entrails completely dragged out. So about whether Shion is acting scared, did you guys get the conclusion on the twin thing? Yes. 2 chapters ago, it got revealed that Shion and Mion are twins. They're identical twins. Mion is the big sister, Shion is the little sister. The police immediately began an investigation, but since they couldn't even determine the identity of the victim, much less the criminal, finding answers was extremely difficult. Do you understand what it must have been like? I can't imagine such a strange sight, even if I tried. This was the first time I'd ever be thankful for my lack of imagination. The victim was skinned while alive, underwent all kinds of torture, and was killed brutally. The author here also thinks that even after death, the remains were divided and dissected even further, the epitome of inhumanity. Keiichi gaslit himself into thinking the same person. It's true. Even Shion was like, dude, I never said that I was Mion. I literally told you that I'm Shion. I'm of the opinion the entire process was performed while the person was alive, though. What do you think, my Barakun? She spoke in a way intended to make me imagine even more vicious things. As my brain was already far over capacity, however, there was no way I could imagine anything more than brutal. Then when I broke my gaze from Takano-san's, those strangely shaped weird tools were all around us. I wonder if you could faithfully reproduce the mutilated corpse discovered at the end of the Meiji era, with the tools found in this place. I want to deny it. I don't want to admit that something so terrible could have happened at all. Even so, they were so strange, so terrifying, these tools. And as if they had seen through my attempt to escape from them, they did nothing but ridicule me silently. And what about ending of the first book? You know, where Keiichi goes blank and unalives 2 girls. Was one of them Shion or the other twin? That was Mion. Mion was the one who died, because we got the autopsy report from one of the cops. I almost said doctor. From one of the cops, they said there was Mion Sonozaki and Reina Ryugu that were found dead. So, that creepy incident, what was it in the end? The author says that regarding Onikakushi village's dreadful customs, they've survived into recent post-Meiji days, and that perhaps they lasted until around the beginning of the Showa period. Now, wasn't that also before we knew about Shion? True. That book, didn't even bring up the fact that Mion had a sibling. Yeah, she wasn't mentioned at all in the first book. This corpse, which at a glance had been brutally killed after a period of torture. In actuality, however, it was a pitiful sacrificial remains of the man-eater's terrifying feast. The corpse was just leftovers. It was so fantastic, so strange that it didn't feel real. Was this an extension of the legends too? It happened in the Meiji era, though, which was just too recent to be called a legend. Also, there's the newspaper clipping right here suggesting it. Okay, but even if it really happened, it was a long time ago, right? I mean, the Meiji era ended 100 years ago. That's all? Only 100 years ago? Besides, it kept happening even after the beginning of the Showa period, like with an uproar around the post-war canned flesh incident. Or, oh, I apologize. That story was taboo, wasn't it? Okay. I bet Shion was not acting scared. Yeah. I think she's actually scared right now, if I had to guess. Takano-san immediately stopped talking as if she was worried about Shion. Shion briefly looked somewhat angry, but that expression soon disappeared. Huh? Takano-san, what did you say? Canned flesh? Just then, there was a huge creaking noise. Everyone whipped around and looked. It was Toмотaki-san, who had opened the door slightly. Did I startle you? Oh, Jiro-san, could you not resist seeing the inside? This is a splendid treasure trove of torture devices. I'll pass. I'm bad with this sort of thing in nature. Takano-san held her stomach and had to muffle her laughter as she wanted to make a comment about his masculinity. In any case, the dance and ceremony are over, and everyone's going down to the stream. The festival will be over within minutes. Oh, that's no good. My Barakun is just such a good listener that I couldn't help telling stories. I'd really rather you not mention me in the place like this. Jiro-san, could you wait out front? I want to take a few pictures. There are actually a lot of tools I'd like to bring home, but obviously I can't do that. Takano-san took out a camera with a paper bag and began to snap photos. She looked like she was having fun, like she was on a scavenger hunt. Kichi-kun, are you leaving too? I've seen enough. Shion, you're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air. I agree. Let's leave. I did feel a bit of hesitation at leaving Takano-san by herself in the darkness. When I thought about it, though, I realized that whatever kinds of evil spirits and ghosts lurked in the darkness, none of them would hold a candle to how scary she was. Even if a phantasm were to appear, she'd be overjoyed and flash her camera. It seemed like Shion shared my somewhat rude mental images. We exchanged glances and smiled painfully. We left Takano-san there, bathed in the strobe of her camera flashes, and decided to leave through the ritual stairhouse. Everyone at the festival seemed to have gone to the stream, so their voices were very distant. Facts, though, yeah, for real. If some demon came out and, like, was saying, I'm gonna kill you or whatever, she'd be like, do it, daddy. Hit me harder, daddy. She'd like, can I pick what tool you use, daddy? The voices of the bugs on the other hand were clear, lending an empty feeling of isolation to the place. How was it? Interesting? Toмотaki-san gave us a somewhat mischievous grin. He should have been able to tell by looking at how pale our faces were. I should have kept watch with you outside, Toмотaki-san. Give me the details. Yeah, whips out her like scrapbook and whatever. She's like, oh, can you take pictures? Toмотaki-san laughed so delightedly that it wiped away our dark feelings. How did you fare, Shion-chan? Were you scared? I was prepared for it, so I wasn't too afraid, but seeing the real thing was powerful. Shion spoke like she wasn't scared at all. She really had been quite afraid, but seeing as how I was in the way of worse state than her, I didn't have much room to talk. As Toмотaki-san grinned candidly, my mind exhausted, and I locked up the nervousness and began to calm myself. Was Takano-san an adult about this little expedition? You know, how she seemed like a child sometimes. I was worried she'd be way too excited. Both Shion and I laughed and left that as our answer. Hopefully she was only looking at things. I'm worried she'll sneak something out of there, mess up with the ritual implement too much and break it or something. Right. That is quite possible. She is alone in there right now. She might pilfer something small and easily concealed, hiding it in her pocket. Yeah, I can see that. Shion said when I was thinking. You're sure she didn't break anything? I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting kind of nervous. I'm sorry. I ran out of film. Jiro-san, if you have any more, could I use some? Takano-san suddenly appeared while we were talking about her, taking everyone by surprise. Toмотaki-san smoothly grinned and resounded as if nothing had happened. He's pretty mature. I'm all out of spare film. Sorry about that. Jeez. You won't win any Pulitzer Prizes by not stocking enough film for the occasion, you know? I suppose that's it then. Toмотaki-san scratched his head apologetically. Without film, we're done here. Takano-san seemed to have given up because of that too. We checked carefully to make sure we hadn't left anything inside, then closed the door and turned to a heavy padlock the way we'd left it beside. I ran out of film. Man, I forgot when this was set. For real, for real. Tano-san, you didn't sneak anything out, did you? How rude. I'm not trying to be that childish. Ker-clack. Tomotaki-san set the padlock back the way it was before. From a cursory glance, it didn't look like the thieves had snuck in. Okay, let's get out of here and get to the streams ourselves. If we don't at least set some cotton afloat, there won't be any point in coming to the festival. Tomotaki-san spoke brightly, urging us all on. Setting cotton afloat down the stream. I shake my head a few times, driving away the dismal thoughts as to the double meaning. Takano-san, looking a little let down, kept turning back to glance at the ritual storehouse. Let's just leave it at that, right? You saw enough to state your curiosity, didn't you? Not at all. Everything I found only renewed my interest. All those stories and legends suddenly hold water. After today, I'm gonna have to change the way I look at all of this. Wow, she truly is indomitable. Her curiosity really is something else, still interested in all this through and through. We descended the stone stairs, and all the people crowding the stream came into view. Near the bottom of the stairs, we could clearly see people receiving cotton that had been cut out of them, and then wishing upon the cotton and setting it afloat down the stream. The festival was already over. Damn. I missed my chance to photograph the best part of Watanagashi. Oh, but it's not too late. I'm gonna go and set some afloat. Perhaps you could take pictures of me. Takano-san, with an impish expression, brought her head to Tomotaki-san's shoulder. Despite his age, he looked embarrassed. I felt an honest respect for Tomotaki-san, man to man, for dating such a handful of a woman. Goodbye then, Maibara-kun. Shion-chan. We're gonna go down the stream. Would you like to come with us? No. I couldn't get in your way. Please, take your time. Shion waved her hand at them with an expression just as impish as Takano-san's. Tomotaki-san, on his part, seemed to want us to come, but whatever. Shion gave a big stretch and sat down on the stone steps. I'm pretty worn out. Same. I'm exhausted too. That feeling when you're dating someone really into the true crimes? Yeah. Kei-chan, this was your first Watanagashi, isn't it? You go on. Don't mind me. I'm tired, so I'd like to stay away from the crowd. Yeah, if we were to go now, we'd barely slip into the end of the cotton drifting ceremony. My sister and your other friends might be looking for you, too. Go on. Oh, yeah, you're right. They've been by themselves ever since we got separated. I'd feel bad if they were looking for me. Then Shion suddenly got a playful look on her face, then put her index finger to her lips as if telling me to keep a secret. My sister's the type that gets really jealous. If she knew I was hogging you this whole time, she'd never let me hear the end of it, so, keep tonight a secret, okay? Keeping tonight a secret. Don't say things that are so embarrassing. Not only because of that, either. Considering what we are doing tonight, we really need to keep it a secret. Oyashiro-sama's curse might be happening tonight, and we four would be prime candidates. The loosening threads of tension began to taunt again. Shion, however, burst out laughing. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here before I run into my sister. I really am tired, so I don't have any endurance to put on with her anyway. I can't tell if you get along with her or not. Well, we get along. Though, as she said that, her vague expression explained that there were a lot of oddities in a relationship between twins. I'm an only child, so I don't really get it. Make sure you get along with her, alright? Right. Thank you for your kindly meddling. Okay, I'm gonna go. You should hurry up if you want to make it, Kei-chan. Watanagashi really is about to end. Shion stood up and brushed the dust off her backside. After watching her do so, I turned my eyes to the final ceremony of the Watanagashi festival below me. Seriously, though, what was that sound anyway? It was kind of unpleasant and creepy. Huh? What sound? The sound. You know, the banging noise. It was really loud, wasn't it? I was giving her a blank expression, so Shion stared hard at me. And I stared hard at her, too. Sorry, Shion. Could you give me the short version? What was making a noise? Wait, Kei-chan, it didn't bother you? When all's said and done, it was like we were speaking two different languages. Shion, explain it to me without jokes from the beginning, would you? What's this about a noise? Kei-chan, quit joking around too. Really, honestly, it didn't bother you? Neither of us giving any ground. And both of us were staring at each other in disbelief. We were answering questions with more questions, with no sign of an actual conversation in sight. Baffled, I held my urge to shout at her and asked politely one more time. I'm going to ask one more time, okay? I'll ask the questions. Shion nodded silently. Okay, here goes. You said there was a sound. What were you talking about? The banging sound. It was like a kid was jumping up and down on the floorboards somewhere far away. It really didn't bother you? There was nothing to be bothered by. When did you hear it? I never heard anything. Wait, Kei-chan, are you being serious? Shion, as if she didn't understand my plain and simple answer, pressed me further, her expression serious. I have no clue what she's talking about, but if it has Shion acting like this, whatever it was, it gave me the creeps and sent a chill down my spine. It was while you were looking around the inside of the ritual storehouse with Takano-san. About the time she started her stories, I think it was. Little by little. Louder and louder. Off and on. She heard the banging sound like a child jumping on distant floorboards? That can't be true. Don't start trying to scare me after all that. I didn't hear anything at all. In fact, it was utterly silent in there. Just my own heartbeat was deafening. Please don't scare me either, Kei-chan. It was like something was making noise in time with Takano-san's scary stories, and I was totally creeped out the whole time. The chill rose from my spine and back of my head. My blood turned cold as it sprawled my body. When it reached my head, my mind froze. You and Takano-san weren't paying any attention to it at all, so I pretended not to hear it either, but... You heard it, right? It happened a bunch of times. It was really loud. Shion's eyes were begging me to tell her I heard it. I had no doubt, however, that my own eyes suggested something entirely different. You've got to be kidding look. In that storehouse, we were surrounded by brutal ritual tools that looked like they were from another planet, listening to terrifying stories. The whole time, Shion had been hearing a sound that we couldn't hear by herself. Should that make Shion, who heard it, tremble, or should it make me, who didn't hear it, tremble? I didn't know the answer at that time. For now, Shion seemed to have made that decision before I did. What are you laughing at? I really got you, Kei-chan. I was fibbing the whole time. What? Shion laughed, saying how easily scared I was, and clapped me on the back. Her smile seemed somehow artificial, and actually made me feel worse. Then, after leaving me with 2 or 3 generic diplomatic goodbye phrases, she left, almost like she was running away. All I could do was look after her, my mouth agape. At the end of the day, I didn't have a clue what was going on. Shion laughed it off and said she'd been lying, but she couldn't possibly have been lying. Of course not. And now that I think back, Tomotaki-san said the same thing, didn't he? I could clearly hear some noises like someone was jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous. Tomotaki-san, the most neutral party present at the time, had said he'd heard something. Then, that noise. It was real? The banging sounds. Sounds as though a child were jumping up and down in some sort of floorboards far away. A Yashiro-sama's curse, which happens every year, might happen again tonight. The most plausible victim candidates were Takano-san, Tomotaki-san, Shion, and me. No way she's joking. Yeah. What were you laughing about? Oh, don't mind me. This is just my coping mechanism, dealing with my insanity. The bustling of people sounded further away than I would have liked, and the sounds of the insects sounded too close for comfort. I'm near so much human warmth, and yet I can't even go back there again. That was the ominous idea sprouting in my mind. Then all of a sudden, I was pounced on from behind, causing my heart to lurch.
Keiichi, we found you!
It was Rika-chan. When I turned around, Mion and Rina were there too. Mion sighed and said, "Yeah, we finally found you. Now we just need to find Satoko."
Everyone got split up this year. We should make sure we go somewhere to meet up afterwards next year, How?
You're right. It's a festival, so we should all be together. I listened to Mion's happy declaration with a little bit of guilt.
Keiichi, did you root for me while I was dancing?
Oh yeah, I saw it all. You did a great job all the way through. No mistakes either.
Yeah. That's right, Rika-chan. That didn't count as a mistake.
I tensed up as I realized I'd made a mistake of my own. Mion slapped my head onto my shoulder a little roughly. A gross sweat broke out over my whole body. Did you do it too, Kei-chan? Did you get some cotton and send it down the stream? You haven't yet, right? Is what I could feel from her saying. Without a courage to tell anyone else any more lies, I lifelessly shook my head.
Huh? You haven't, Keiichi-kun. You should go now or it'll be over. It'll be over.
Sorry, this is my first Watanagashi, so I don't really understand the rules and stuff. That's alright. I'm sorry. Mion took my hand and we started walking down the stone steps. Hey, Kei-chan. What? Did you see Shion? My heart skipped another beat. Maybe Mion could sense the surprise through my hand. No. Oh, well, I sort of think I saw her. You two look so alike, though, so it might have just been you. You wouldn't have gotten that wrong. We're wearing different clothes. Huh? Oh, that's right. Mion's momentary silence was like a death grip on me. I just can't do anything about that Shion. Well, it's her we're talking about, so we can just leave her be. Mion's expression returned to her former, usual smile, and we continued down the stone steps, her firmly pulling my hand along. What an awful right? Literally has different hairstyles, different clothes. No, it might have been you. It might have been you. Ooh, more stuff from the scrapbook, huh? And after the festival. Achievement, plumbing the depths. Discover what's in their storehouse. Oh my god. New tips, please. After the festival, let's go. Late that night, tensions at the police station were strained. In the silence, many of the staff members' eyes shifted back and forth between the clock and their telephones, counting the seconds that stifled the atmosphere. Kumagaya-kun burst in, a young guy trailing behind him. Oishi-san, I got the autopsy results. The court physician just got here. I'm ready to go, sir. I'll head straight for the Gifu. Kuma-chan, things have gotten a bit complicated. They appear to be having a very difficult time determining who the victim is. Could they have been dismembered? Nope. Cooked to rice light brown. He spoke in supportive tones, but the meaning behind his words was heavy. The staff gave a collective sigh. All the way? Head to toe? Completely blackened, it seems. Probably smells terrible, too. What a shame it is to be a Gifu-san. Cooked with no possessions, then discarded outside the prefecture. At worst, it would have taken a week for the body to be identified. The fact that they had sniffed it out tonight was huge. Komiyama-kun and a few others were performing a thorough night raid on the dentist in Okinomiya. All we can do is hope the tooth matches some medical records. Sorry, could someone go buy me 2 or some boxes of Ultra Mild? The young guy answered in affirmation and darted into the hallway. We did an excellent job finding it this year. It could be that the people who disappeared in the past years were scattered outside the prefecture like this, too. Then why not bury them? or sink them in the Sea of Japan or Lake Biya, or somewhere like that. Why, though? Hasn't the pattern been so far one person dies and another one disappears? Kuma-chan, the corpse was inside an oil drum, unrestrained and cooked. They probably burned them after strangling them. They knew it would be found. So what do you mean is, from the beginning, they didn't want the person to disappear this year? Not so much as they aren't related. The person didn't disappear, in fact. Whoever did it seems to have wanted to make a show of it. You mean it could be a warning? He folded his arms, and then heaved a long, heavy sigh. That might have been the case had it happened in town. If they'd messed up, taking the victim far away and burying them alive wouldn't have been noticed. If they meant this as a warning, they should have done so closer to Hinamizawa. They wanted to emphasize the fact that they killed the victim, but instead of doing it somewhere dramatic effect, they did it outside the prefecture. Did they want to emphasize it or hide it? Boy, I do wonder what Yashiro-sama is up to this year. A telephone ring cut through the heavy silence. A staff member nearby snatched the receiver. Oishi-san, it's Komiyama. They have it. The dental clinic Okinomiya fixed the wisdom tooth 3 years ago. What about the records? Complete with x-rays. Well, I feel bad for waking up the dentist before dawn. Kuma-chan, get out there as soon as you get the records from Komiyama. Will do. Oh, it's the chief. Thank you for coming out at this late hour. Oishi-san, my apologies for my lateness. What's the situation? Well, it's getting good, you see. We're all getting fired up. Wahoo! Okay. Watanagashi. The rite of Watanagashi is performed during a village festival every June, even now. But reading back to the origin turns up seriously sanguine ceremony. Originally, Watanagashi would happen at fixed intervals, and after receiving Yashiro-sama's trust, they chose the sacrifice. Then, the entire village would kidnap, demon away, a person and ceremonially dissect and devour them in a feast. The rules that determined the individuals were shrouded in a mystery. This is because the ceremonies occurred extremely irregularly. There's not a theory that was determined based on astrological fortune-telling, but it isn't too convincing. The residents of the ancient Onikakushi village firmly believed that they were all half-man, half-demon transcendents, and that they were more valuable than humans were, and they forced people within and without to accept that. Perhaps the act of kidnapping and eating people was done to prove that they were higher up on the food chain. This is just a hypothesis, but maybe the rite of Watanagashi was a political event for the purpose either of being an outlet for or outright diverting the attention of the villagers isolated in the Onikakushi village. In case any of their complaints or dissatisfactions grew serious, if that was the main reason for these ceremonies were held, then it's easy to explain how erratic they were. The alleged importance of the implements. I can't find anything that gives a concrete description on what the ritual implements were like. They were, however, real, and they definitely existed on a multitude of different kinds. One source states the implements were used in the Watanagashi rite alone, numbered 200. The obvious question, then, is why they required such a myriad of them. The rite of Watanagashi was to kidnap people through a demoning away, dissect them, and eat them. I believe the tools were for dissection and restraining, but 200 of them is far too many. Generally, tools evolve in such a way as to reach a solution for a certain problem. Once you've reached the ultimate goal, that's it. Attained a certain level of efficiency, the tool's evolution normally stops. Regardless, why would they have created so many different kinds? One of the cultural elements responsible for diversification over time is that of entertainment. Tools used for entertainment would evolve over time and branch out. Unlike normal tools, reaching the ultimate goal would be more of a dead end, and in searching for the next goal, they would split into many different subtypes. So then perhaps, it's not a stretch to suggest that these 200 plus implements had some entertainment value. This is just my hypothesis, of course, but maybe the human dissection process was used as a type of entertainment. The three families of old would develop old new implements, dissection tool, after another, and keep was varied, novel, and attracted spectators to keep them from growing bored. It's not unimaginable. All of them have to be enshrined with a storehouse. There isn't much longer until the night of Watanagashi. Though its original intent had been lost, I will reveal the secrets of the traditional ceremonial night within the ritual storehouse. I can't restrain my excitement. Watanagashi cannot come soon enough. So, what you guys think? Okay, let me ask this question first, because this is the one that sticks in my mind, is when Keiichi asked who should be more afraid, the person who heard a child or the people who didn't hear the child. Torture tools used for entertainment. What fun. For real, for real. That is like a really interesting way to think about it, right? They're like, if these were just used for them to feed, why do they have so many? Why is there so many different kinds? If not for trying to spice it up a bit. And to be honest, it was a good friggin' question. Right? Oh, but yeah, man. I knew it. I knew shit was gonna start to get funky these chapters. I fucking knew it. Now all we got is like, wait, okay, so we read, this was chapters 6 and 7? I think? 6 and 7? Yeah. And so, what is it? The first book had 12 chapters, right? So, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We only got like 4 chapters left, basically. Y'all excited or what? We have 2 people who heard it and 2 people who didn't, so we can't make much of a conclusion of who should or shouldn't have heard it. Good question. Good question. Good. This is good. I like it. I like it. But yes. Good shit. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me as we did this double chapter reading. I think we'll just do that going forward, because that felt way better to like just get more of it. You know what I mean? So thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope you're enjoying the book. I know I am. Let's see. Schedule should be going up tonight or like tomorrow at some point. I do wonder if whether you hear it or not is part of the selection process. Yeah. Curious, isn't it? For being a sacrifice of what? Who have not heard it? I guess the jumping sounds might mean the person who heard it will be kill somebody, but yeah, no, not much information to make conclusions. I also wonder if the people who hear it are the people with demon blood. Ooh, that's a cool theory. I like that one. I like that idea. It would make sense. Because, well, I guess Tomotaki could have relatives that were from Hinamizawa, and that's why he likes it there so much, right? He could have roots there somehow. I know it says that he lives in Tokyo. Demon blood? Yeah. So basically the stories that Takano-san was telling us in that story house, maybe it was before you hopped in, she was saying stuff along the lines of like, back in the day, back when Hinamizawa was called Onikakushi Village, demons came out of this bottomless swamp straight from hell and started terrorizing the village. They eventually learned to live with the people in harmony, and Oyashiro-sama came down and said, oh, good, you guys are getting along? That's awesome. Here's some human bodies for you demons so you can live with them truly peacefully. And so eventually, living together, they started to, have kids with the humans. And so that's the origin story for Hinamizawa, is that all the people who live there are descendants from demons. And there's a specific type of demon who likes eating people. Yeah. The demons, got human bodies, so they were able to have kids with humans, and started pumping out those demon babies, Cool. Yeah. Same, bro. Same. But yeah. So, I'm excited as we continue, because we are definitely close to the end. Like 4 chapters left, maybe, probably. I'll have to see how this ends, eh? I do like how just, it's like, because every book of Higurashi, right, is kind of the same. We build up to Watanagashi, something happens, and then there's a bunch of bloodshed. But just the fact that we introduce Shion, now all of a sudden the story is completely different. Because in the original one, he got to see the dance and whatever. He did the Watanagashi, whatever. In this one, he didn't get to see the dance. Instead, now he's ultra aware that something's wrong. But, like, Mion and Reina, he hasn't been, like, brushing them off for no reason, right? So it's like, it's gonna happen differently. It's just, oh my god, I love Higurashi so much. Ah! Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Keep a lookout for the schedule, because even right now I have no idea what we're doing next. I'll let future me decide that. So I hope you guys have a good evening and good night. If I don't see you in the next stream, I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.